Chapter 859. At this critical moment, Old Fiend Pang disregarded the backlash of the blood demon seed and cut off the spell. A purplish-black scale armor emerged from his body, and a blood-red defensive barrier was activated. Boom! A black and white light appeared in the secret chamber like the sun. The terrifying remaining power turned into layers of invisible waves that spread in all directions. The surrounding materials were blasted away and hit the seal of the secret chamber. The black and white jade ruler seemed to be obstructed and was repelled by a powerful force. It changed its direction and slid in an arc, hitting the blood-red light barrier that trapped Qian Jingshan. The light barrier that seemed to have a strong defensive power was broken by the jade ruler, revealing Qian Jingshan's figure. Qian Jingshan did not look old anymore. He was radiant and full of energy. Another middle-aged man appeared behind him. It was Shi Jingtian, who had been hiding with the great illusion technique. Shi Jingtian's hands flashed quickly. A black and white nascent soul stage power entered Qian Jingshan's body. Qian Jingshan's nascent soul stage power also burst out of his nascent soul stage power. Under the joint efforts of the two nascent soul stage cultivators, the blood demon net that enveloped Qian Jingshan's nascent soul stage was broken. All of this happened in a flash. After Qian Jingshan escaped, the light that was as bright as the sun disappeared, revealing Old Fiend Pang's figure. Old Fiend Pang was half kneeling on the ground. His aura was extremely weak and his face was even more haggard. He looked like a dying man. A purplish-black scale armor appeared on his body, and a small part of it had caved in. Old Fiend Pang looked at Qian Jingshan, who escaped, and Shi Jingtian, who appeared next to him. He slowly stood up and suddenly laughed wildly. Although his aura was weak, his aura was not inferior to Shi Jingtian's. Jingshan, you are indeed my disciple. You are so scheming. You actually managed to hide from me and enter the late nascent soul realm without anyone knowing. You even managed to use your powerful illusion to make Shi Jingtian sneak in here. But Jingshan, do you really think that two new nascent soul stage cultivators can deal with me, the blood demon true lord? Following old Devil Pang's words, a thick blood aura gushed out from his body. An incomparably dense blood demon power fluctuation emerged. His aura became stronger again, as if he had not been injured at all. Shi Jingtian's expression changed slightly when he felt the aura. However, Qian Jingshan sneered. Old devil, don't bluff. The blood demon seed's secret technique has been broken and Brother Shi's all-out attack has injured your nascent soul. Even if you can suppress your injuries, I'm afraid the only thing you can use right now is the blood demon force. Brother Shi, let's do it. As soon as his voice fell, Qian Jingshan operated the illusory demonic power of the late Yuanying stage in his body. A large amount of demonic qi in the secret room turned into a thick black mist, filling the entire secret room. Qian Jingshan and Shi Jingtian entered the black fog and disappeared from Old Devil Pang's soul consciousness. Illusion? Old Devil Pang's old face was incomparably calm. He did not seem to be in a desperate situation at all. Without hesitation, he took out a jade bottle and swallowed all the purplish-black liquid in it. His demonic aura almost doubled in an instant, as if he was a great cultivator. A thick layer of blood-red shield appeared around his body, and the purplish-black scales on his body returned to their original state. Under the immense pressure of his demonic power, the black fog in the vicinity was directly suppressed to a distance of 30 feet away. The scene within 30 feet was revealed once again. At the same time, he stretched out his left hand and a large amount of demonic qi gathered. A huge blood demon hand appeared and grabbed in a direction. Bang! Accompanied by a loud bang, a large amount of fog surged. The blood demon hand, which was lacking in spiritual light, returned with a crystal-clear jade bone in its hand and landed in front of Old Devil Pang. Then, with a flash of demonic light, Old Devil Pang quickly retreated to a corner of the secret room. For some reason, he did not put the jade bone Devilman into his storage bracelet but placed it at his feet. Old Devil Pang was very experienced in battle. After using the demonic power generated by the mystical demon Primordial Water to suppress his injuries, he made the best decision in a short time. With his back against the corner of the secret room, the illusory fog could only remain 30 feet in front of him under the pressure of his dense demonic power. Even if an attack came, he would be able to react in time. Most importantly, the Jade-Bone Devilman was also taken back by him. Qian Jingshan's surprised voice came from the fog. "Old man, you're really good at hiding. You actually have extra pure true demon water to refine the mystical demon Primordial Water. It's a pity that you can only passively defend against my psychedelic mother-child technique. What's left of your lifespan can't withstand the consumption." As soon as he finished speaking, the black and white jade ruler from before shot over from the side. In addition to the demonic aura, there seemed to be spiritual energy fluctuations hidden within it. A terrifying destructive demonic light lingered around it. At the same time, a triangular silver mirror appeared on the other side and shot out a silver spiritual light with a strange aura. The silver light trembled slightly and split into two. Each of them was filled with dense nascent soul power, and had an inexplicable hallucinatory ability that would make people dizzy. Old Devil Pang's expression did not change. With a flick of his sleeve, 2 long swords filled with dense blood-red light shot out. These 2 long swords looked exactly the same as the Blood Demon sword of the Blood Demon Master, but their aura was more than 10 times stronger. One of the swords was condensed with blood-red light. Its aura was restrained during the shooting process, as if it was concentrating its enormous power to meet the black and white jade ruler. The other sword trembled slightly and split into 2 sword shadows. The aura of each sword shadow was exactly the same. There was no difference at all. In the blink of an eye, the 2 blood demon swords clashed with the jade ruler and the silver light. Although the black and white jade ruler's destructive aura was powerful, it was in a stalemate against the blood demon swords. The black and white demonic light was broken, and it retreated into the black fog. On the other side, after the 2 silver lights were hit by the sword shadows, they trembled slightly and turned into smoke. The 2 sword shadows didn't stop at all and shot straight in the direction of the spirit mirror. However, at this moment, an undetectable silver light appeared outside of Old Devil Pang's body out of thin air. The black and white jade ruler that had been knocked away also appeared beside him. It was as if the one that was knocked back by the blood demon sword was just an illusion. Boom! Facing the attacks of 2 great cultivators, the blood-red shield outside Old Devil Pang's body was directly shattered. However, the demonic light dissipated and turned into 2 blood demon webs, respectively trapping the black and white jade ruler and the silver light. The blood demon webs that appeared in a hurry trembled, as if they could not withstand the 2 attacks. Old Devil Pang snorted coldly. He seemed to have been prepared. Taking advantage of the time that the blood demon webs bought, 2 more blood demon swords shot out from his body with terrifying fluctuations. The shocking aftershocks spread in all directions. The jade-bone humanoid devil under Old Devil Pang's feet was sent flying by the aftershock of the attack and crashed into the wall behind him. Old Devil Pang changed his hand seal, and the 2 blood demon swords that shot out earlier quickly returned. They combined into a sword light and blasted towards the black and white jade ruler. At this moment, the shattered silver light turned into an obscure fluctuation and dissipated. The 2 blood demon swords seemed to have lost their direction and brushed past the black and white jade ruler. Taking advantage of this gap, a pitch-black destructive force surged out of the jade ruler and blasted the blood demon webs away. The aura of the silver demonic light also completely dissipated. Set a small goal first, such as 1 second to remember. Book Guest House Mobile Edition. Chapter 860. Old Devil Pang coldly looked at the attack that was repelled by him. He once again conjured a thick layer of blood demon shield. 4 blood demon swords floated in front of him, giving off an extremely terrifying aura. However, after this exchange of blows, His body became thinner and the wrinkles on his face became more obvious. His body was wrapped in a layer of shriveled skin, making him look like a withered old man with one foot in the grave. The activation of the blood demon force accelerated the consumption of his lifespan. Old Devil Pang didn't care about the condition of his body. His nascent soul force surged in his body to suppress his injuries. At the same time, he took out a dark green elixir that was covered with complicated patterns. A bloody light flashed in his hand as the elixir was split into two, and he swallowed half of it. At this moment, Old Devil Pang's divine sense, which was at the peak of the late nascent soul stage, seemed to have received some sort of sublimation and continued to rise. The fog-like illusions began to tremble rapidly under the pressure of the increasing divine sense, as if they would disappear at any moment. Qian Jingshan's panicked voice came from the fog. "Impossible! Your divine sense," Old Demon Pang's body also began to tremble like the black fog. His withered body seemed to be unable to withstand the enormous divine sense, but he remained unmoved. His eyes emitted a scorching blood-red light, as if he had seen through the illusions of the black fog. The 4 blood demon swords in front of him became extremely excited with the help of the terrifying soul consciousness. The 2 swords merged into one, turning into 2 dazzling bloody sword lights, aiming at a certain direction in the black fog and shooting out. Old Devil Pang's blood demon swords were a set of magical treasures. When the 2 swords merged into one, their power increased again. A ripple appeared in the void and a large amount of pure demonic qi was unconsciously attracted, turning into illusions of swords and attaching themselves to the blood demon swords. Rumble! Several loud noises were heard as the black mist completely dissipated under the terrifying power of the attack, turning into pure demonic qi. The devil qi trembled slightly, and under Old Devil Pang's spell, it quickly transformed into 2 enormous blood devil hands. In addition to the rich nascent soul power, the blood devil hands also seemed to contain a special aura that increased their power by several times. The black and white jade ruler and the triangular spiritual mirror shot out. The blood demon hands displayed by Old Devil Pang were so terrifying that Shi Jingtian and the others had to use their natal magical treasures to resist it. At this moment, in addition to a thick layer of mana shield, they each had a large yellow umbrella and a long black banner. These 2 transcendent artifacts emitted a strong and heavy aura. Clearly, they were defense-type transcendent artifacts. Their spiritual light flickered as they dodged left and right, blocking the terrifying might of the blood demon sword set. Although every attack of the blood demon sword would cause the spiritual light of the 2 psychic magic treasures to dissipate, from the looks of it, they could at least hold on for a while. In just a few breaths of time, the situation of the battle had completely reversed. Qian Jingshan and Shi Jingtian had turned from attacking to defending passively under Old Devil Pang's sudden burst of spiritual sense. Old Demon Pang could feel his body trembling. When he saw that Qian Jingshan and Yi Futian were still able to withstand his attacks for a short period of time, a ruthless look appeared in his eyes. 2 more blood demon swords appeared in front of him. Qian Jingshan's expression changed as he said in disbelief, "Impossible! You actually refined 6 complete sets of blood demon swords. Even with your great success in the blood demon technique, you can't use 6 of them." Old Devil Pang turned a deaf ear to him. His eyes were filled with madness as the power of the blood demon burned fiercely. His withered body could no longer withstand the pressure and exploded, revealing a blood-colored nascent soul that was almost a foot tall. At this moment, the 6 blood demon swords suddenly shone with a dazzling silver light. The original 3-foot-long swords shrunk rapidly and turned into 6 1-foot-long blood-colored needles. Silver Dragon Meteorite Iron. You even fused it into the natal blood demon swords. No. Qian Jingshan revealed a look of despair. 3 by 3, the 6 blood-colored needles turned into 2 invisible blood-colored rays and easily pierced through Shi Jingtian and Qian Jingshan's spiritual treasures and protective spiritual light. After piercing into their bodies, the needles dispersed and imprisoned their nascent souls. The two blood devil hands above also knocked away the two transcendent beings' transcendent artifacts and fell down, wrapping around their bodies. Old Devil Pang's nascent soul slowly flew over. His spiritual sense gradually weakened and returned to its previous level. His incomparably arrogant voice rang out. My name, Blood Demon Perfected Lord, is well known in the nearby cultivation countries. Even the demonic sects of the Great Zhou country fear my strength and dare not take a step into the Qi country. Even if my vitality is greatly damaged and my lifespan is nearing its end, I'm still not someone that you two newly ascended great cultivators can match. The blood-colored nascent soul looked at the ashen-faced Qian Jingshan and said, although I used up the mystical demon true water and didn't hesitate to waste the demonic soul elixir, everything will be worth it as long as I can possess your body. There was a hint of excitement in his voice. I didn't expect my luck to be so good. The host of the blood demon seed has actually reached the late nascent soul stage. No matter what kind of opportunity you have, as long as I use the blood demon seed secret technique to possess your body, I'll be able to live for another 200 years with my late nascent soul stage cultivation. With the jade bone humanoid demon in my hands, I'll be able to recover my cultivation very quickly. With sufficient lifespan, I'll be able to break through to the legendary soul formation stage. Following old Devil Pang's wanton laughter, his nascent soul turned into a streak of blood-colored light and charged towards Qian Jingshan's body. However, at this moment, the corners of Qian Jingshan's mouth curled up unconsciously. He no longer looked like he was in a desperate situation. Beside him, a tall figure shrouded in a black robe appeared out of thin air. At the same time, the blood demon seed in his body shone brightly and entered the body of the tall figure as if it had teleported. Old Devil Pang had already activated the possession secret technique. Coupled with the fact that his lifespan was nearing its end, he couldn't react in time. At this moment, under the guidance of the blood demon seed, his nascent soul entered the body of the tall figure in a black robe. What the hell is this? After old Devil Pang's nascent soul entered, he immediately struggled. For some reason, his blood-colored nascent soul could only struggle in vain and couldn't leave. A strange demonic fluctuation appeared on the body of the black-robed figure. It seemed to contain a strong and cold aura. The cold demonic energy and the power of old Devil Pang's nascent soul clashed, causing an invisible fluctuation to spread in all directions. A large amount of demonic qi was stirred up. The black robe of the tall figure fell to the ground, revealing the face inside. It was a human covered in purplish-black scales. There were some bone spurs on the joints of his bones. As the black robe fell to the ground, a strong corpse aura filled the air. Demonic zombie. How did my blood demon seed enter the body of the demonic zombie? Qian Jingshan, what have you done? Old Devil Pang's previous high-spirited demeanor was completely gone. His tone was extremely flustered. He found that he seemed to be imprisoned in the body of the demonic zombie. He couldn't use the teleportation ability of his nascent soul. Moreover, what frightened old Devil Pang was that there was a cold demonic aura in the body of the demonic zombie that was eroding his nascent soul. It seemed to want to refine it. There was also a bloodthirsty intent that was attacking his divine soul. Sensing this, old Devil Pang hurriedly calmed himself down. He circulated the remaining nascent soul power in his nascent soul to resist and break free. Qian Jingshan took advantage of the fact that old Devil Pang was restrained to resist the blood demon sword that was locking his nascent soul. He was trying to break free from the seal. Sure, Jingtian was doing the same. Just like that, the secret chamber suddenly quieted down. The three figures were motionless. All kinds of materials were scattered all over the floor. It was extremely messy. A large amount of precious materials were destroyed in the aftermath of the battle. However, the jade-bone humanoid devil was unharmed. It was still crystal clear. It fell to the corner of the secret chamber. The strong aura of a magical treasure seemed to have disappeared and it became inconspicuous. Old Devil Pang's storage bracelet fell from the explosion of his physical body. It was unknown whether it was a coincidence or not, but it was hanging on the ribs of the jade-bone humanoid devil. Set a small goal first, such as 1 second to remember. Book Guest House Mobile Edition. Chapter 861. After about half an hour, the blood demon hands around Qian Jingshan and Shi Jingtian gradually dimmed and turned into pure demonic qi, dissipating in the air. Without the blood demon hands, Shi Jingtian and Qian Jingshan still stood in the same place. The nascent soul power in their bodies was surging, as if they were fighting against something. Qian Jingshan slowly opened his eyes and looked at the aura surging within the demonic zombie. His eyes contained some mockery. Old Demon Pang, there's no need to struggle. You're too weak to resist this demonic zombie. Old Devil Pang listened to Qian Jingshan's words and did not say anything. The nascent soul power fluctuated more and more violently, resisting the strange demonic qi and the bloodthirsty will of the demonic zombie. Qian Jingshan said indifferently, Old Devil Pang, you must be wondering why I killed you in the end. Since you have provided me with a huge amount of resources, I will let you know why you died. He did not care whether Old Devil Pang heard him or not. His eyes were filled with reminiscence as he said, When you announced that you wanted to take me as your disciple, all the disciples in the sect were envious. But who knew that I was just a tool for you to plant the demonic blood seed? He clenched his fists and said, At that time, I could not resist at all. I could only accept everything on the surface. But in my heart, I swore that I would break free from the shackles of the demonic blood seed. My sect's demonic child technique is fast and easy to break through. The disadvantage is that it consumes a lot of resources. It does not have any offensive means. Only the illusion technique is passable. So after I built my foundation, you chose this technique for me. But it was this demonic child technique that gave me the chance to resist. Qian Jingshan said, When I built my foundation, you let me enter the first level of the Yuan's secret realm and obtain a large amount of demonic stones for my future cultivation. I'm afraid you never imagined that the first level of the immortal cave mansion, which had never been occupied by a cultivator, would have a hidden secret. The demonic child technique's aura accidentally activated a magic array in the demonic stone land. It sent me to a mysterious underground cave mansion. There was a skeleton and a large amount of demonic stones, as well as a cultivation technique jade slip. What is written in the jade slip is Yuan School's orthodox fantasy devil mother-child technique. Qian Jingshan exclaimed, The orthodox illusory devil mother-child technique is more than 10 times more exquisite than the one of my sect. There are also countless secret arts. The secret art that allows the mother and child to exchange their gold cores and nascent souls can help me transform the blood devil seed. The illusions of the nascent soul stage can conceal the ripples of the blood demon seed. Qian Jingshan looked at the devil zombie's hideous face that was covered in scales and said slowly, Most importantly, this cultivation method mentioned an extremely shocking secret technique, and it's hidden in the center of the second level. Upon hearing this, Old Devil Pang's soul finally stirred a little. His old voice slowly came out, Is this the secret technique used to seal my nascent soul? Qian Jingshan sneered, Old Fiend Pang, you underestimate the art of devil refinement too much. Imprisoning and refining your nascent soul is merely a supplementary ability of the art of devil refinement. In fact, it's a secret technique that can resist the will of the true devil and use the water of the true devil to help a nascent soul stage fiendish cultivator break through the bottleneck. What? Resist the will of the true devil? Impossible. Old Devil Pang's tone changed drastically. He was full of disbelief. He had spent so much time and paid a great price to refine the fake jade-bone humanoid devil in order to be confident in resisting the will of the true devil. But Qian Jingshan said that the art of devil refinement could resist the will of the true devil. How could this be possible? Qian Jingshan ignored old Devil Pang's doubts and continued, the orthodox illusory devil mother-child technique can conceal the blood demon seed. If I had obtained the art of devil refinement, I would have had a chance to secretly break through to a higher level. As long as my cultivation is on par with yours, I would have had the possibility of freedom. Then he sighed, unfortunately I was unlucky. The next time the Yuan's secret realm opened, I was already in the nascent soul stage and couldn't enter the second level. So, I took in a few disciples who practiced the illusory devil mother-child technique with the excuse that cultivation was boring. Although Rongjingqi was the only one who reached the core formation stage among them, he still managed to obtain the art of devil refinement. Qian Jingshan exclaimed, the art of devil refinement was created by a fairy named Han Ting. This secret technique can be used together with the illusory devil mother-child technique to refine a demonic zombie into a subbody and transfer the nascent soul into the subbody. With the subbody as the medium, the nascent soul can be soaked in the true devil water to achieve a breakthrough. Shi Jingtian was a bit emotional. Back then, Qian Jingshan had placed his nascent soul in the body of a demonic zombie and visited him. Then, he used the true devil water in the miraculous gate to reach the late-stage nascent soul stage. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. Unfortunately, the art of devil refinement could only be used with the help of the illusory devil mother-child technique. Normal nascent soul cultivators wouldn't be able to leave their bodies so easily. Hearing this, old Demon Pang's hoarse voice sounded, so that's how it is. In the Yuan's secret realm a few decades ago, not only did you obtain the art of devil refinement, you also obtained the demonic zombie that Ma Jie brought back. You refined it into a new subbody and used the true devil water in the miraculous gate to achieve a breakthrough to the late-stage nascent soul stage. With the help of the late-stage illusory devil mother-child technique, I concealed my aura and helped Shi Jingtian to sneak in here. Old Demon Pang's voice was filled with despair. The demonic zombie clone was your last resort. It would have been fine if I had been killed by your sneak attack. But if you had been defeated by me, then I would have naturally possessed the blood demon seed in the late-stage nascent soul stage to extend my life. You would have taken the opportunity to transfer the blood demon seed into the demonic zombie's body. The demonic zombie was concealed by the heavenly dark demon robe and an illusion technique. Coupled with my eagerness to possess the demonic zombie, I eventually fell into your trap. Old Demon Pang's voice was filled with unwillingness. I wasted hundreds of years and collected countless materials to refine the jade bone humanoid devil. I didn't expect that you, Qian Jingshan, would be able to refine the secret technique to resist the true devil intent so easily. Qian Jingshan shook his head and sighed, Old Demon Pang, you're wrong. The original art of devil refinement had a huge flaw. Although it could resist the true devil intent, it would be infected by the dark devil energy in the demonic zombie's body, and its divine sense would be eroded by the bloodthirsty intent. Although Fairy Han eventually perfected the art of devil refinement, she couldn't cultivate it successfully. Hearing Qian Jingshan's words, Shi Jingtian was extremely curious and couldn't help but ask, Brother Qian, why is that so? Qian Jingshan didn't answer, but looked at the demonic zombie in front of him. His eyes were like a treasure as he said, because in order to perfect the art of devil refinement, Fairy Han needed to refine her fellow disciples into subbodies. Shi Jingtian was even more confused. Isn't devil refinement the same as refining demonic zombie? Is there a demonic zombie cultivator in Yuan school? Qian Jingshan said, according to the records of the art of devil refinement, there was a group of cultivators in Yuan school who were studying a body refining technique. They were trying to cultivate the body of the human race to be comparable to the demon race. This body refining technique was called the demonic zombie body refining technique. Old Demon Pang's divine sense moved and immediately recalled that the demonic zombie leader that Ma Jie mentioned was cultivating the demonic zombie body refining technique. and Lu Kuan, who was killed by him, seemed to have inherited the demonic zombie body refining technique from Yuan school. These body refining cultivators also cultivated the demonic child technique. They refined the corpses of the demonic zombies and used the special energy in the corpses to refine their bodies. The cultivation process was extremely bloody and cruel. Unfortunately, the demonic zombie body refining technique was a wrong technique. When the cultivator broke through to the nascent soul realm, he had to fuse with the demonic zombie of the demonic zombie general level. Then, his divine sense would be eroded by the bloodthirsty intent, as if he had turned into a zombie. Although he had the body of a demonic zombie general, his cultivation was stuck at the pseudo-nascent soul realm. Shi Jingtian glanced at the demonic zombie in front of him and his pupils shrank. Could it be that the demonic zombies in the demonic zombie body refining technique must be? Qian Jingshan nodded and said, "Yes, they must be the demonic zombies left behind by the body refining cultivators after they failed to break through to the nascent soul realm." These body refining cultivators used to cultivate the demonic child technique, which was very compatible with the demonic zombie body refining technique. The demonic zombie body refining technique also contained powerful qi and blood, which made up for the flaw of the demonic zombie body refining technique. Qian Jingshan said with some regret, "Fairy Han was very talented. Those demonic zombies in Yuan's secret realm were sealed by her. Unfortunately, for some unknown reason, she didn't use them in the end. After I obtained the 6 demonic zombies that Ma Jie brought back, I fused their weak gold cores and formed a special liquid demonic zombie. Only then did I succeed in refining the demonic zombie body refining technique." Old Devil Pang was silent for a while, and his voice became weaker. Since the demonic zombie body refining technique is a secret technique that can resist the true demon intent, why is it still refining my nascent soul? Qian Jingshan chuckled and said, "Because the demonic zombies refined by the demonic zombie body refining technique can not only assist in cultivation, but also increase their battle prowess by devouring the nascent soul. After absorbing the nascent soul of a grand cultivator like you, this demonic zombie's strength is at least equivalent to a mid-grade silver-armored corp." Old Devil Pang's divine soul trembled and couldn't resist the invasion of the cold demonic zombie body refining technique and the bloodthirsty intent. It completely dissipated. The powerful nascent soul energy turned into pure energy and melted into the demonic zombie's body. A faint pressure appeared on the demonic zombie's body and made Shi Jingtian, who was next to him, feel a little scared. Chapter 862. Shi Jingtian felt the aura of the demonic zombie and his expression turned unnatural. His divine sense secretly locked onto the storage bag. At this moment, Qian Jingshan seemed to have removed some of the restrictions on his body. He opened his mouth slightly and an illusory 9-inch nascent soul flew out. This nascent soul's eyes were tightly shut and there were 3 mini swords stuck in its body. The massive power of the blood demon circled around the nascent soul and seemed to contain a special pressure. The demonic zombie opened its mouth and swallowed the nascent soul, following which an intense demonic fluctuation was emitted from the demonic zombie's body. It seemed to be old Fiend Pang's power of the blood demon, but it also seemed to be Yin demonic energy. After a few hours, Qian Jingshan's nascent soul floated out of the demonic zombie's mouth again. Other than being a little dim, the 3 mini swords had already disappeared. The little nascent soul waved its hand and the triangular spiritual mirror on the ground turned into a spiritual light. It was caught by its little hand and the entire nascent soul entered Qian Jingshan's body. Seeing this, Shi Jingtian's expression changed slightly. "Brother Qian, you removed the restrictions on the blood demon's sword so quickly?" Qian Jingshan's face turned slightly pale. He said slowly, "Relying on the illusion demonic womb technique, I barely managed to transfer the blood demon's sword into the demonic zombie's body. At the end of the battle just now, old Fiend Pang's divine sense suddenly increased, causing his divine sense to increase tremendously. I'm afraid my nascent soul will need a long time to recover completely. Shi Jingtian recalled the power of the blood demon sword and the blood demon hand. His eyes were filled with intense fear. Old Fiend Pang is indeed the #1 demonic cultivator in the Qi Kingdom. He can actually add so much demonic essence to his magic treasures. He has reached the pinnacle of the nascent soul stage. As he spoke, some demonic fluctuations surged in Shi Jingtian's body. The jade ruler that was sent flying by the blood demon hand turned into a black and white spiritual light and entered his body. Qian Jingshan's eyes flashed with surprise. He didn't expect Shi Jingtian to regain control of part of his nascent soul so quickly. He turned to look at the corner of the secret room. Although we were heavily injured, Old Fiend Pang still died in our hands. Qian Jingshan waved his hand and the jade-bone humanoid devil in the corner of the secret room slowly floated over. Shi Jingtian looked greedily at the sparkling and translucent jade skeleton. He then glanced at Qian Jingshan and said, "Brother Qian, according to our agreement, this jade-bone devil man." Qian Jingshan stared blankly for a moment before replying in a relaxed tone, "Of course we used the blood oath plate to form an alliance. Besides, with the demon refinement art, I don't need the jade-bone humanoid devil." Having said that, Qian Jingshan removed the bracelet from the jade-bone humanoid devil's rib and tossed the lifeless skeleton to Shi Jingtian as if he didn't care about this supreme treasure. Shi Jingtian immediately pulled the jade-bone devilman in front of him. While using his divine sense to examine every inch of the jade-bone devilman's bones, he said, "Speaking of the covenant, Brother Qian should also have the restriction of the oath stone." After killing Old Fiend Pang, the restriction didn't seem to have any reaction. Qian Jingshan sneered and said, "When this old fellow entered the sect, he tampered with the restrictions on the oath stone so that it would be easier for him to attack me. However, he didn't expect that I would be able to kill him without any effect." Shi Jingtian stroked the jade-bone devilman and felt increasingly uneasy. Qian Jingshan was hiding too many things. Previously, he only knew that the demonic zombie had the effect of assisting in a breakthrough. However, he didn't expect that the demonic zombie could also increase its strength by refining a nascent soul. If it swallowed Shi Jingtian's nascent soul, wouldn't it have the strength of a top-grade silver-armored corpse? Moreover, he didn't believe that his good friend didn't have a use for the jade-bone devilman. While thinking, Shi Jingtian shot out a ray of demonic light. However, the jade-bone devilman's treasure light flickered faintly and it didn't move. What's going on? Why can't the jade-bone devilman be kept in the storage pouch? Qian Jingshan was also puzzled. He sized it up and said, "The jade-bone devilman is a legendary supreme treasure of the demonic Tao. As for this one, it was refined by Old Fiend Pang. Perhaps this is the special characteristic of the jade-bone devilman." Hearing this, Shi Jingtian used his divine sense to examine the jade-bone devilman again. Apart from discovering that every bone contained silver dragon meteorite iron, he couldn't find any other reason. In the end, he helplessly took out a black flag. The flag emitted a dark spiritual light that wrapped around the jade-bone devilman and Shi Jingtian's bodies. At the same time, it seemed to be adding a layer of defense to itself. After casting the spell, Shi Jingtian quietly took 2 steps away from Qian Jingshan. He said in a steady voice, "Brother Qian, now that the matter is settled, I'll have to trouble you to send me out of the blood-refining sect." An undetectable glint flashed across Qian Jingshan's eyes. He smiled and said, "Of course. However, we have to get rid of the traces of battle in the secret chamber first." Afterward, he swept his divine sense into the storage bracelet. He raised his eyebrows and sighed. "I didn't expect Old Fiend Pang to spend so many resources on refining the jade-bone devilman." A few restriction tokens appeared in his hand. He threw the storage bracelet out and it landed near Old Fiend Pang's shattered body. Shi Jingtian was also dispelling his own demonic aura. He put away the umbrella-shaped magic weapon with a slight heartache. Looking at Qian Jingshan's actions, he said with admiration, "Brother Qian, you've calculated well. This way, the elders of the blood-refining sect will think that old fiend Pang has failed to break through to the spirit-severing stage. Brother Qian will then reveal your late nascent soul stage cultivation. Coupled with your identity as old fiend Pang's disciple, you'll naturally become the new great elder of the blood-refining sect." Qian Jingshan shook his head and sighed. "It's not that easy to become the great elder of the blood-refining sect." Then, he put away the demonic zombie standing beside him and threw the restriction token in his hand to Shi Jingtian. He chuckled and said, "Brother Shi, why are you guarding against me? Have you forgotten that with the restriction of the blood oath demonic tablet, we can't fight?" Shi Jingtian took the restriction token and said with a fake smile, "I naturally believe in Brother Qian." As he tried to open the restriction of the secret room, he intentionally said, "Brother Qian, old fiend Pang's lifespan is nearing its end and he's trying to break through to the spirit-severing stage. I'm afraid that the Seven Fiends sect and the Yin-Yang sect will know about this. Without old fiend Pang, these two sects might make a move against the blood-refining sect." Qian Jingshan's expression changed slightly and said, "I'll have to trouble Brother Shi to keep this a secret. If these two sects really want to make a move, I'm afraid that the miraculous gate will help us." Shi Jingtian nodded inwardly. If old fiend Pang's death led to a war between the three sects of the Qi Kingdom, then the miraculous gate in the western province of the Qi Kingdom would naturally be a great help to the blood-refining sect. If old fiend Pang died, it would be disadvantageous to the blood-refining sect. Gradually, the restrictions of the cave were opened one by one. Just as the array at the entrance of the cave dissipated, Shi Jingtian's expression suddenly changed. A small jade statue appeared in his hand out of thin air, and he slapped it into his dantian. Then, the tyrannical power of the nascent soul flashed in his body, and he turned into an undetectable shadow that shot out of the cave. Qian Jingshan didn't seem surprised. Demonic light flashed around his body, and he appeared on the mountain peak outside the cave like a phantom. His hands flashed with a seal, and the surrounding demonic qi quickly turned into a dense black demonic mist. At the same time, a weak voice transmission sounded in Shi Jingtian's ears. "Brother Shi, leave quickly. I'll help you hold them off for a while." Shi Jingtian's expression froze. When the restrictions of the cave were opened, he felt two powerful auras lurking around. He thought that it was an ambush arranged by Qian Jingshan, but now that Qian Jingshan was helping him, it didn't seem to be the case. Qian Jingshan's injuries aren't light. Those two people's demonic qi is much stronger than an ordinary mid-nascent soul stage cultivator. It's very likely that they're old fiends Situ and Fairy Lo. I won't be able to hold them off for long. While thinking, Shi Jingtian bypassed the restrictions and fled into the distance. It seemed like he was very familiar with the restrictions of the blood-refining sect. At the same time, there were two blood-red escape lights in the black mist of the mountain peak. They seemed to have lost their direction and could only circle back and forth, unable to fly out. A female voice with an interrogative tone sounded, "Senior Brother Qian, what's the meaning of this? Didn't we agree to hand the Jade-Bone Devilman over to us? Why did you give it to Shi Jingtian?" Two figures appeared in front of Qian Jingshan. One was a middle-aged man with a sallow complexion, while the other was a young woman with a face full of baby fat. She wore a dark red dress. Their nascent soul stage aura was very similar to old fiend Pang's blood devil stage aura, but it was much weaker. Shi Jingtian's guess was right. These two were experts who cultivated the blood devil technique. They were Situ Hao and Lu Yanjun. Not only were they mid-nascent soul stage cultivators, but they were also dual cultivation Dao companions. Their combined strength wouldn't lose out to a grand cultivator. Situ Hao sized Qian Jingshan up and his expression changed slightly. "Senior Brother Qian, you've actually entered the late nascent soul stage," Qian Jingshan said plainly. Junior brother Situ, junior sister Lo, if you guys had set up the formation in advance and attacked immediately, sure Jingtian wouldn't have been able to escape. Lu Yanjun also felt Qian Jingshan's aura. Her eyes flashed with a hint of unwillingness, but her tone calmed down. Senior brother Qian's plan is too risky. We don't dare to fully trust it. If the Grand Elder finds out that we're working with you, she didn't finish her sentence, but her meaning was clear. Qian Jingshan said plainly, Old Fiend Pang is already dead. Sure Jingtian's nascent soul is mostly sealed by the 3 blood devil swords. He was only temporarily suppressed by a secret technique. You guys can use the blood devil swords to sense his escape direction. Once the secret technique is over, the Jade Bone Devilman will be within your reach. Lu Yanjun said in a low voice, If that's the case, why are you stopping us, senior brother Qian? Qian Jingshan didn't answer. Instead, he looked at Situ Hao meaningfully. At this moment, Situ Hao was forming a seal. He seemed to be sensing the blood devil swords in Shi Jingtian's body. After a while, he raised his head and said decisively, Senior brother Qian wants us to support you to become the Grand Elder, right? Previously, it was just a verbal promise. Now, let's make an oath so that senior brother Qian can rest assured. Yanjun, take out a vow stone. Qian Jingshan clapped his hands and said with a smile, With the support of the 2 of you, I can firmly become the Grand Elder. After that, I will naturally assist the 2 of you to enter the depths of the Blood Devil Cave and obtain the complete Blood Devil art. After the time it took to brew a cup of tea, the black fog around the mountain peak dissipated. A large amount of blood-red demonic light surged out of Situ Hao and Yanjun's body, forming an obscure streak of light that shot in the direction of Shi Jingtian's escape. Like Shi Jingtian, they suppressed their demonic energy fluctuations as if they didn't want to be discovered. Qian Jingshan watched the 2 leave and whispered, The fluctuations just now might have been sensed by the old guys. Qian Jingshan should also move around. Only by becoming the Grand Elder can I obtain the complete inheritance of my sect and truly understand the mysteries of the spirit-severing stage. Only then can I, Qian Jingshan, enter the spirit-severing stage. Outside the Blood Devil Mountain range, Shi Jingtian's face was extremely ugly. He had just escaped from the blood-refining sect when he sensed Situ Hao and Yanjun's pursuit. The duo's combined escape light was not inferior to a late nascent soul stage cultivator. In fact, they were even slightly faster than Shi Jingtian. The range of their divine sense is at most 70 miles. How can they pinpoint my direction? Could it be the blood devil sword in my body? Shi Jingtian instantly thought of the reason and felt a headache coming on. If he was in his peak condition, he wouldn't be afraid of the 2 at all. However, he was currently heavily injured and the blood devil sword was only temporarily suppressed by a divine ability called the Calamity Substitution Jade Infant. The divine ability's duration was limited and he couldn't escape back to the miraculous gate. If the Calamity Substitution Jade Infant lost its effect, he would definitely be caught by Situ Hao and Yanjun's pursuit. At that time, he would be in danger. Shi Jingtian could only try to beat Situ Hao and Yanjun's pursuit while the Calamity Substitution Jade Infant lasted. Only then would he have a chance. Shi Jingtian sensed the Jade Bone humanoid devil behind him and his eyes flashed with helplessness. Such a precious treasure that couldn't be kept in a storage pouch was a complete burden in a battle. At the thought of this, he used his divine sense to explore the nearby mountains and rivers. Then, with a flash of escape light, he landed on an inconspicuous mountain top. His hands moved slightly and he used a spell to bury the Jadebone humanoid devil in the depths of the mountain. This Jadebone humanoid devil is very strange. It doesn't release any aura at all. Even with my divine sense, I could only discover its profundity when I held it in my hand. Situ Hao is still 80 miles away and his divine sense can't reach here. The Jadebone humanoid devil is hidden in the depths of the mountain. Unless it crawls out on its own, it won't be lost. At the thought of this, Shi Jingtian turned into a black and white escape light and changed his direction. When he sensed that Sidu Hao and Yanjun's direction had changed, he was completely relieved. His eyes flashed with ruthlessness. If he didn't mind losing his nascent soul's source, even if he couldn't kill Sidu Hao and Yanjun, he could still severely injure them. Shi Jingtian then spread the news of old Monster Pang's death. The blood-refining sect was wary of the Seven Fiends sect and the Yinyang sect, so they naturally didn't dare to deal with him easily. After removing the seal on the Blood Devil Sword, he would return here to take the Jade Bone Humanoid Devil. With this legendary supreme treasure of the demonic Tao, he, Shi Jingtian, would have a chance to reach the spirit-severing stage. Chapter 863. The Jade-Bone Devilman remained motionless in the soil. Lu Kuan's divine soul was silently calculating something in the depths of the skeleton's sea of consciousness. It should be about time. With Shi Jingtian's previous speed, he should be 200 miles away. With a thought from Lu Kuan, the Jade-Bone Devilman's 4 limbs began to tremble. Its jade-white bony hands were like sharp blades, easily crushing the surrounding rock. The fleshless jade bone unbelievably began to move in the soil. The reverse muscles in the skeleton can only exert 1/10 of its original strength, but it's still a piece of cake for it to dig through the soil. Lu Kuan felt the strength of his internal muscles as he dug outward. In about the time it took for an incense stick to burn, he had drilled out of the mountain rock. His arm bones, skull bones, torso bones, leg bones, and translucent bones were exposed to the air one by one. Not to mention mortals, even some low-level cultivators would be terrified to see a skeleton crawling out of the soil, thinking that they had seen a ghost in broad daylight. Kacha, Lu Kuan shook his jade bone body, scattering the rocks and soil. He quietly spread out his divine sense, causing the surrounding spiritual energy to tremble slightly. Lu Kuan had used the divine sense to forcibly cast the lowest level of concealment technique. This sparkling and translucent jade skeleton disappeared into thin air. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that the Jade-Bone Devilman he had been thinking about would really crawl out by himself. Not only that, the Jade-Bone Devilman could even cast a concealment technique to secretly leave his burial ground. Lu Kuan wasn't used to it. He shook his skeleton and sprinted with his bony feet. He gradually familiarized himself with the reverse muscles in his bones, allowing him to run faster and faster. Even if the reverse muscles couldn't exert too much strength, it was still equivalent to a body-tempering great perfection physique cultivator. His running speed wasn't slow at all. He wanted to escape 1,000 miles away from the blood-refining sect's territory and find a secluded place to recover his flesh. I didn't expect Qian Jingshan to be so shrewd. In the end, he killed old Fiend Pang. It's all thanks to him. Otherwise, it would have been too risky for me to act when old Fiend Pang was refining. Lu Kuan thought of everything that had happened not long ago and sighed. Although he was only a skeleton left, he had seen everything that had happened in the secret chamber. These nascent soul late-stage old guys were each more insidious than the other, scheming against each other. Perhaps the biggest winner would be Qian Jingshan. As for Qian Jingshan's demon cultivation art, it also helped Lu Kuan resolve some of the doubts in his heart. He vaguely remembered that in the Yiyuan secret realm, the cave where the leader of the demonic zombies, Hong Yuntian, was sealed was called the Devil Refining Cave. At that time, he felt strange. These sleeping demonic zombies seemed to have been tampered with. Now that he thought about it, the person who did it was the creator of the art of devil cultivation, Han Ting, who was mentioned in Hong Yuntian's letter. She was the woman who was once engaged to Hong Yuntian's brother. The demonic zombies in the outermost layer of the Devil Refining Cave had remnants of true demon will in their bodies. Han Ting had probably studied the art of devil refining. The flaws of the demonic zombie body refining technique and the true demon will had caused them to lose their minds. Unfortunately, Hong Yuntian had finally comprehended the original power of the physical body, but he was still stuck in the pseudo-nascent soul realm and had not really reached the nascent soul realm. However, the demonic zombies refined by the art of devil refining immediately had the strength of the middle nascent soul realm after devouring old Devil Pang's nascent soul. Hong Yuntian had wasted his life and almost turned into a demonic zombie. But in the end, his demonic zombie body refining lineage had become a wedding dress for someone else and became a material for the art of devil refining. Hong Yuntian's path is still crooked. The path that I, Lu Kuan, have taken is the right one. Lu Kuan's heart was burning with flames. In the past year, after old Devil Pang's hard work day and night, his bone treasure had changed a lot. The first change. The core of the bone treasure had been integrated with the silver dragon meteorite. This material could only be calcined by the Dharma power true fire of the late nascent soul realm, which greatly increased the defensive power of the bone treasure. Not long ago, the jade bone was not damaged by the aftershock of the battle between the three grand cultivators, which showed how terrifying its defensive power was. If an immortal cultivator wanted to kill Lu Kuan completely, it would take a late nascent soul realm grand cultivator to burn Lu Kuan for a few days with the true fire of the nascent soul realm. Normal nascent soul realm grand cultivators would have a hard time killing Lu Kuan. With the characteristics of the silver dragon meteorite, Lu Kuan's bone treasure would also have the ability to change after engraving the related miniature arrays. Unfortunately, Lu Kuan could not achieve this yet. To engrave the miniature arrays on his bone treasure, at least a late nascent soul realm grand cultivator would be needed. The second change was that after being tempered by the destructive energy produced by the demon bone essence and the power of the five elements, even without the support of the silver dragon meteorite, the bone treasure had reached the level of a mature magic treasure. In other words, his bone treasure had become more than 200 mature magical treasures. It had reached the level of a complete bone treasure. The third change was that the bloodline of the long-armed demon ape had been completely activated. His bone treasure had turned into the five elements chaotic devil bone. In other words, Lu Kuan's body had become the five elements chaotic devil body, just like the ancient long-armed demon ape. However, he still needed to study the uniqueness of this body. Feeling the changes in his bone treasure, Lu Kuan looked at his soft ribs. Old Devil Pang had also coated the ribs with a layer of silver dragon meteorite. It seemed that even the consciousness of a grand cultivator would not be able to detect it. Inside the secret chamber, Lu Kuan had secretly manipulated the muscles inside his bones with the help of the strong wind caused by old Devil Pang's body being crushed. By coincidence, the storage bracelet was hanging on old Devil Pang's rib. Then, when old Devil Pang's nascent soul was sucked into the devil zombie's body and Qian Jingshan was trapped by the blood devil hand, Lu Kuan had ruthlessly looted old Devil Pang's bracelet several times. Apart from the silver dragon meteorite and part of the pure true devil water, all of his belongings had been taken back. At the same time, the half-devil soul pill and some other treasures that he felt were very precious were also put into his ribs. However, in order not to arouse suspicion, Lu Kuan did not take everything away. He left behind some jade slips, magical treasures, and devil stones. It seemed that his value had been greatly reduced. Even so, Lu Kuan's value had greatly increased. In addition to nearly 300,000 devil stones, there were also a large number of middle-grade spirit stones and 8 pieces of high-grade spirit stones, which allowed him to vent his resentment of being counted in front of his face. After running for several days, Lu Kuan arrived at the border between the West Prefecture of the state of Qi and the Northern Barren Prefecture of the state of Chu. He drilled into a mountain range with sparse spirit Qi and devil Qi and dug a simple secret chamber in a mountain peak. Then, Lu Kuan took out a magic plate and set up a magic circle to isolate the aura. He sat cross-legged and took out 3 middle-grade spirit stones of water, fire, and wood attribute. He tried to absorb the spirit chi to restore his thunder attribute magic power and regenerate the essence of his flesh and blood. Although the spirit controlling magic circle on Lu Kuan's bones had been completely destroyed, his hidden Relingen had improved after entering the middle stage of the bone treasure realm. It would only disappear for 1 day every 5 days. Today was the day that his spiritual root existed. He slightly operated his cultivation method, and the spirit chi in the spirit stones seemed to have seen some kind of precious treasure. They rushed out and entered his bones. The speed of the surging shocked Lu Kuan. Wait, why can't magic power be formed? His spirit fluctuated. Although the spirit chi was absorbed very quickly, no matter how he operated it, the spirit chi of the 3 attributes in his bones could not be converted into magic power in his body. Could it be? Lu Kuan suddenly thought of something. Spirit chi flashed in his hands, and 2 spirit stones of the metal and earth attributes appeared. Without waiting for him to activate it, the spirit chi of these 2 attributes also surged out and entered his bones with great tacit understanding with the other 3 attributes. All of a sudden, 5 types of spirit chi appeared in his bones. They fused with each other and tried to combine together. I understand now. The attribute of the bone treasure has changed from the original thunder attribute to the 5 elements. The Imperial Thunder Body Refinement Technique is no longer compatible with the bone treasure, so it can't produce magic power. The 5 elements. That's right, the Great 5 Elements Technique. Lu Kuan immediately fell into deep thought. When old Demon Pang was instructing Ye Wufeng on the Great 5 Elements Technique, he was eavesdropping at the side. He had already memorized this secret technique. Other than the Great 5 Elements Technique, the metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and the Imperial Thunder Body Refinement Technique also flowed in his mind. When he was at the Iron Fist School, he used the 5-colored halo of the Connecting Arms divine ability to comprehend the Elemental Fire Body Refinement Technique. The first time he built his foundation, he used wood to ignite fire, and achieved the Firewood Body Refinement Technique. The second time he built his foundation, he combined the 3 elements into one and achieved the Imperial Thunder Body Refinement Technique. On the road of cultivation, the attributes of Lu Kuan's body refinement technique were constantly increasing. At this time, he had the 5 elements Chaos Demon Bone, and the Great 5 Elements technique gradually merged with the various body refinement techniques. After an unknown period of time, the spirit chi of the 5 elements that filled his bones suddenly combined in a strange way. The surface of Lu Kuan's bones also reappeared with a rich 5-colored halo. A trace of a strange milky white magic power suddenly appeared in his bones. Chapter 864. Lu Kuan suddenly felt a trace of inexplicable throbbing when the milky white magic power appeared. It was as if he had sensed a unique power in the surrounding spiritual energy. However, this feeling was fleeting, as if it was an illusion. Lu Kuan shook the skull and concentrated on converting the mana. With the influx of spiritual energy, the milky white mana gradually crystallized and combined with the bones, forming a core formation level skeletal mana. This brand new white mana was comprehended by combining the body refinement technique, the Great 5 Elements technique, and the 5-colored halo. It was a mana with the attributes of the 5 elements. More and more spiritual stones were taken out by Lu Kuan for the bones to absorb. Only on the 3rd day did the 5-colored halo slowly dissipate, revealing the pure white jade-like bone treasure. The jade bone body trembled slightly, and a strong surge of mana was emitted from it. It was extremely majestic, even more vigorous than a late core formation cultivator. It actually reached the great circle of the core formation level. After the bone treasure matured, it can contain so much crystallized mana. It has more than doubled, reaching the great circle of the core formation level. Lu Kuan was only slightly surprised, but felt that it was natural. According to his plan, after the bone treasure entered the mature stage, it would begin to form the original power of the physical body. and when a core formation cultivator entered the great circle of the core formation level, it would also prepare to break the core and form the nascent soul. The two were so similar. Looking at it this way, as long as the bone treasure entered the mature stage, it would be equivalent to the great circle of the core formation level. The mana of the two was similar, which was very normal. These thoughts flashed through his mind. Lu Kuan began to mobilize the brand new mana in the bones, and at the same time, the flesh and blood essence in the depths of the bones. First, he actively contracted the reverse muscles in the bones, turning them back into tendon essence. Through the bones, they slowly appeared on the surface of the bones. The tendons seemed to be affected by the properties of the bones, turning from its original light purple color to white. Then, Lu Kuan injected the white mana into his blood. A huge amount of vital energy surged into the sky. On the surface of all the tendons on the bones, traces of dark golden blood began to flow. The tiny muscle fibers were like tender grass bathing in the spring rain, slowly growing. The translucent white bones were fertile soil, and the blood that contained magic power was the rain that nourished all living things. Under the nourishment of the blood, the muscle fibers grew even more luxuriant. They intertwined and multiplied, flashing with a bloody luster. Gradually, the entire jade-like body, including the skeletal face, was covered by a large amount of muscles. The surface of the muscles also began to grow pink skin. Lu Kuan had a 9-star physique. 9 portions of bone magic power could only be converted into 1 portion of blood magic power. His magic power consumption was extremely high. He took out a large number of mid-tier spirit stones and placed them around him to provide energy for the rebirth of his corporeal body. As the muscles were perfected, blood vessels also interweaved within them, forming a complex network of blood vessels. The concentrated essence of the organs was transported out from the nearby bones by the blood. One by one, the organs like those of a newborn gradually appeared in the network of blood vessels. First, it was the liver, gallbladder, heart, intestines, kidneys, and other large organs. Then, it was the eyes, ears, nose, and other small organs that represented the male sex, such as the corpus cavernosum. Just like this, after a day and a night, Lu Kuan slowly opened his eyes. A golden light flashed through his eyes. In the aura of his corporeal body, there was a fresh and rich aura of life, like that of a newborn baby. Lu Kuan looked at his brand-new body and exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. Even if the defensive power of his bones was extremely terrifying, he still felt a little empty after not having flesh and blood for such a long time. Fortunately, as he expected, his corporeal body had returned to its original state. It was as if he had been reborn, and his vitality was even more vigorous. Lu Kuan sized up his reborn corporeal body. The flesh and blood condensation technique is completed, and the body cultivator has another life-saving method. The nascent soul stage cultivator can use the nascent soul to escape, and the body cultivator can condense the flesh and blood and leave the body. While Lu Kuan was thinking, his magical power moved slightly, and a layer of white light film appeared on the surface of his skin. It revealed a thick and strange aura, and seemed to have a much stronger defensive power than the defensive thunder shield. The new magical power was comprehended from the Great Five Elements technique, and its aura is very similar to the Great Five Elements chaotic force. Then let's call it the chaotic magical power. The 5 elements chaotic demon bone has led to a change in magical power. I don't know if the magical power will be different. Thinking of this, the thick chaotic magical power was absorbed into the depths of his bones, and then he took out several devil stones, and his muscles trembled slightly. The pure devil chi in the devil stones, like the previous 5 elements spiritual chi, rushed into Lu Kuan's skin and was absorbed by his muscles. At a ratio of 9:1, it turned into magical power and entered his blood. After only a day, a magical aura of the middle stage of core formation emerged from his blood. At this time, the blood devil chi, whether in capacity or purity, was no different from the middle stage of bone treasure. The only difference was that the speed of Lu Kuan's transformation of devil chi had greatly increased. Relying only on the devil stones, he recovered all his magical power in a day. In the past, only in the Dead Sea Devil Cave could he have such a recovery speed. The transformation of the bone treasure's material will lead to an increase in the magical power of the bones, but there is no change in the blood. Naturally, the blood devil chi will not increase. However, the increase in the recovery speed of the blood devil chi is probably due to the integration of the devil race's essence into the bones. Lu Kuan touched his chin and thought. The recovery speed of magical power has also increased a lot. In the past, it took 3 days to recover the magical power of the middle stage of core formation. Now, it only takes the same time. The 5 elements chaotic demon bone has improved my aptitude. I don't know what kind of destructive force will the chaotic magical power and the blood devil chi produce now. Lu Kuan operated the blood devil bone refining technique, urging a part of the magical power and the chaotic magical power to destroy each other in the bones. Boom! The conflict between the chaotic magical power and the devil chi seemed to be more intense than the thunder magical power. As the blood devil chi was destroyed, an even more turbulent destructive force surged out. However, Lu Kuan's bones were still crystal clear and easily withstood this destructive force. Lu Kuan was a little disappointed. As expected, although the destructive force is stronger than before, it can't do anything to the mature bones that have been integrated with the silver dragon meteorite iron. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan was suddenly stunned. That's right, it's already the 6th day. My spirit root has disappeared, and the spirit controlling array is also gone. Why can I control magical power and devil chi so freely? Then, his divine sense quickly entered his body and secretly operated his magical power. He found that there was an inexplicable fluctuation in his bones, giving off a feeling similar to the spirit root. Lu Kuan recalled the scene of the transformation of the chaotic magical power and murmured, "Even when Relingen was here, I could only control the magical power of water, fire, and wood. Now that Relingen has disappeared, I can control the chaotic magical power." In other words, the 5 elements chaotic demon bone has completed my 5 elements spirit root. Lu Kuan seemed to have thought of something and murmured, "A magic treasure that can complete the spirit root. Isn't this characteristic of the 5 elements chaotic demon bone the item spirit root that I guessed before?" An extremely bold conjecture immediately surfaced in his mind. His body started to tremble slightly. If we reverse the conjecture, then mortal martial artists who have achieved mastery of the Vajra mantra can really make up for their spiritual roots and cultivate their physical body and magic power. With the talent of a mortal, they can refine their body and cultivate immortality. Chapter 865. The more Lu Kuan thought about it, the more plausible it seemed. I'm afraid that the senior who created the jade bone humanoid would never have thought that there would be an anomaly like me. My bones are comparable to a mature magic treasure, and I've become a living jade bone humanoid. With the help of this attribute of my bones, I can control the 5 elemental mana and complete my 5 elemental spiritual root. Various thoughts flashed through his mind. Old Devil Pang's fake jade bone humanoid lowered my resistance to the true demonic intent, thus simplifying the refinement requirement. For a tool spirit root, I don't need any abhijna of the jade bone humanoid, the 5 elemental chaos, and I don't need to refine it into a magic treasure. I only need one 5 elemental attribute to be refined into a magic treasure. The material requirements for the magic treasure are much simpler. He pondered. For a mortal martial artist who has mastered the Vajra mantra, his body has already undergone preliminary refinement. Although he can't generate mana with the help of a spirit-controlling magic treasure, he can focus on refining a certain bone in his body with spiritual energy. Lu Kuan touched his chest. For example, the sternum. It's not very big, but if I focus on refining it with spiritual energy, it might be possible to use it as a foundation stone for refining magic treasures. His eyes lit up as he thought to himself, if I can simplify the 5 elements art and the core fusing method for sentient puppets, will I be able to fuse the power of a certain attribute into my sternum and form a tool spirit root with only one attribute. Sternum tool spirit root. With a tool spirit root, I can convert spiritual energy into muscle mana and enter the muscle refinement stage. With the help of a spirit-controlling magic treasure, the muscle refinement stage cultivation won't be a problem at all. Various thoughts flashed through Lu Kuan's mind, and it took him a long time to calm down. He exhaled slowly. This is a huge project, and my energy is limited. I'll leave it to the disciples of the Body Refining Pavilion to study. As for me, Lu Kuan, I need to devote all my energy to exploring the path of body refinement. Next, I'll break through the treasure bone stage and enter the next major realm. Lu Kuan clenched his fists, and an inexplicable look flashed in his eyes. Since the refining method can't generate physical origin power, I'll just follow my original idea. Now that my bone treasure has reached the large success stage, and my flesh and blood condensation technique has reached the large success stage, I have already completed these 2 steps. Then, whether or not my physical body's origin strength can successfully appear will depend on the next 2 steps. I still don't have enough materials, I need to collect them all. Soon after, Lu Kuan put away everything in the secret room and left the small mountain. His mid-core formation stage blood devil chi emanated from his body. His entire body turned into a black streak of light and shot towards the nearby market. In the far west of the western region of the state of Qi, in the Gray Lake Valley, in a cave of the sacred poison sect, Zhao Qingtian and Duan stood aside, looking at a woman sitting cross-legged in the middle. The woman wore a white dress, had red lips, white teeth, and a beautiful face. She was Zhao Qingtian's younger sister, Lu Kuan's 3rd disciple, Sher Chao. A jade bottle floated in front of Sher Chao, and a trace of liquid containing a brutal aura flowed inside. Her snow-white skin was constantly trembling, as if there were many earthworms crawling under her skin. There was also a layer of demonic aura covering her. Gradually, accompanied by the surging power of qi and blood, the demonic aura of the late Foundation establishment stage emerged from her body. Sher Chao slowly opened her eyes. Seeing this, Zhao Qingtian waved his hand and put away the jade bottle in front of Sher Chao. He said, "Schwerer, the true demonic water that Master left me isn't enough. When Master returns, he will give you some. With a 4-star physique, you can cultivate at least 4 times the power of the blood demon. Now that I have the power of the late Foundation establishment stage, I can cultivate and deal with the sacred poison sect for a short period of time." Sher Chao stood up and condensed the power of the blood demon into a crystal and hid it in her crystal-clear bones. Her bones contained a powerful magic power fluctuation, accompanied by a trace of undetectable treasure light. Sher Chao was somewhat worried. Where did Master go? He's not in the Dead Sea Devil Cave, nor is he on Demon Spirit Island. Could something have happened to him? Zhao Qingtian waved his hand and said, "Schwerer, Master is trying to break through to the bone treasure realm. This time, he may have gone out to find some auxiliary items. Besides, with Master's strength, he can protect himself when facing a nascent soul stage cultivator." Seeing that Sher Chao was still somewhat uneasy, Zhao Qingtian said, "Schwerer, you have successfully entered the bone treasure realm. If Master knew, he would definitely be overjoyed. And your breakthrough method is different. It will be a great inspiration for the future disciples of the Body Refining Pavilion." Sher Chao's eyes flashed with a trace of sadness. She shook her head and said, "Brother, it's not like you don't know. The reason why I have this opportunity is all thanks to Master Li Ruobing. She used the profound ice art to seal the frost sword magic treasure in my body. It has completely merged with me. With the blood essence in my body, I can also use it like a core formation stage cultivator. Xiao looked at her arms. A trace of shocking frost treasure light flashed and disappeared. According to the body refining realm created by Master, the early stage of the bone treasure realm is to produce core formation stage mana to speed up the tempering of the bone material. From there, it can be refined into a treasure and enter the middle stage of the bone treasure realm. In the years of practicing the method of visceral condensation, part of the frost sword's treasure light can actually condense through the visceral condensation and enter the bones. So before the breakthrough, I took the initiative to condense and integrate the frost sword into the bones of my forearm, using the bones as my dantian. In this way, the bones of my forearm will directly reach the middle stage of the bone treasure realm. With the forearm bone as the core, the difficulty of the bone treasure realm will be greatly reduced. While speaking, Xiao's arms trembled slightly. 2 rays of light flashed and a pair of ice crystal swords appeared in her hands. After entering the bone treasure realm, the frost sword used her forearm as her dantian and integrated into it. If she wanted to fight, she could summon her magic treasure at any time like a core formation stage cultivator. Li Ruobing's figure echoed in Xiao's mind. She sighed and said, Master Li Ruobing gave me this opportunity. How can other disciples learn from it? Zhao Qingtian took a deep breath and patted Xiao's shoulder. Shuer, the strength of our body refining pavilion is steadily improving. I believe that the day of revenge is not far away. When there are enough body cultivators above the bone tempering stage and Master enters the nascent soul stage, I believe that the miraculous gate will definitely not be a match for the body refining pavilion. But now, what we need to do is to vigorously develop the body refining pavilion. Zhao Qingtian looked at Duan and said coldly, You have entered the bone treasure realm. With the fighting style of a body cultivator, you can completely unleash the power of this set of magic swords. An ordinary core formation stage cultivator is definitely not your opponent. It's time to completely take down the sacred poison sect. Xiao nodded. She did not doubt her own fighting strength. She said, After I help you take down the sacred poison sect, I will ask eldest senior brother for help. Seeing that Zhao Qingtian was a little puzzled, Xiao said, Yu Xian has been looking for a suitable method to break through. Not long ago, he flipped through the jade slip left behind by Master and saw a fire fusion art. This secret technique was obtained by Master from a core formation stage cultivator called Daoist Sky Flame. It talks about how to refine a different type of flame for one's own use. There is also a conjecture about a secret technique that uses a different type of flame to increase the chances of core formation. However, the creator of this secret technique thinks that it is very difficult to achieve. After all, even the simplest type of flame requires the magic power of a core formation stage cultivator to refine it. Otherwise, they will be burned to death by the flames. When Zhao Qingtian heard this, he immediately understood and said, I know what junior brother is thinking. A body cultivator who has completed the tempered body realm has a strong physical body. It is not impossible for him to refine a different type of flame. If he has the help of the secret technique for core formation stage, his chances of core formation and bone fusion stage will also increase. You asked eldest senior brother for help just to find a different type of flame? Xiao shook her head and said, Different types of flame are extremely rare. However, I heard it from Martial Uncle Xiao. Back then, Daoist Sky Flame's primordial young earth fire was taken away by Ouyang Lu of the Scorching Sun sect. A trace of killing intent flashed in her eyes. Ouyang Lu and Ling Yutong of the Miraculous Gate ambushed Master back then. They deserved to die. With eldest senior brother's help, we can ambush him. As long as we kill him, not only will we be able to avenge Master, but we will also be able to seize the Tri-Yang fire and primordial young earth fire in his body to help Yu Xian break through. Zhao Qingtian nodded and said, If you and eldest senior brother work together, you won't even be afraid of a late core formation cultivator. Right? What about the other two junior brothers? Have they found a way to break through? Sher Chow said somewhat helplessly, Little Yan's physical defense is too strong. Even with the help of poison, it will take him a lot longer than us to reach the viscera forging stage and reconstruct his internal organs. After he reconstructs his internal organs, he will have no choice but to try to break through. However, he has a 6-star physique, second only to master. His chances of breaking through are extremely high, so we don't have to worry too much. As for little Yun, before I went into seclusion, he kept saying something about his physique being compatible with the sword Dao cultivation method. Maybe he can be inspired by it. After I came out of seclusion, he took Duan Iyun, who has a profound gold body, to the treasure pavilion. I don't know what he will do next. Zhao Qingtian nodded slightly and said in a high voice, They all have their own directions. Then we have to take down the sacred poison sect, as soon as possible. With the help of sufficient poison, the body-refining pavilion can develop quickly. Duan Shui next we first set a small goal. For example, 1 second. Remember, book guest house mobile version website. Chapter 866. Half a year later, Lu Kuan returned to Demon Spirit Island. Before returning to the island, he met with Pan Yen from Warrior Saint City. He knew that Xiao Hongfei and Lu Xiao were in closed-door cultivation while Qin Yushu was in Abyss Island's treasure pavilion. What surprised him was that Sher Chow had also entered the bone treasure stage. She seemed to have used a special method. Other than Pan Yen, all the first-generation disciples had gone to Sacred Poison Sect. Zhao Qingtian wanted to control Sacred Poison Sect in one go. Lu Kuan did not intend to interfere. Sacred Poison Sect only had 5 core formation cultivators left. Only one of them was in the intermediate core formation stage. With the restraint of body cultivators against poison cultivators, he did not have to worry about anything. During this period of time, other than purchasing materials, he also had a good experience of the new chaotic magic power. Other than the different attributes of lightning magic power, the chaotic magic power produced a white light film that had great resistance to all 5 elements magic. Its defensive power was stronger than the previous defensive thunder barrier. Although the chaotic magic power was at the great circle of the core formation stage, the consumption of the bone treasure in the mature stage was even greater. Perhaps only nascent soul stage spiritual power could activate more than 200 bone treasures. After the bone treasure reached the large success stage, Lu Kuan's physical strength directly reached 400,000 jin. If he used the linking arm's divine ability, it would increase by 50%, reaching the terrifying level of 600,000 jin. With the great circle of the core formation stage, he could launch about 90 attacks. Unfortunately, without the origin strength of the physical body, unless he stood on the broken dragon stone, he could not display that astonishing brute force. After reaching the large success stage of the bone treasure, the power of his divine sense had increased again. The range of his divine sense had almost reached 30 miles. He was probably not much different from an early nascent soul stage cultivator. At this time, if Lu Kuan fought with Ba Yongkai again, they would at least be evenly matched. The bone treasure in the mature stage, even without the support of spiritual power, could completely withstand Ba Yongkai's attacks without being injured. However, facing the power of a nascent soul stage cultivator, he could not display his full strength. But if Lu Kuan had the origin strength of the physical body, he could unleash 600,000 jin of strength in midair. Ba Yongkai would definitely not be his opponent. Lu Kuan had returned this time to prepare for a breakthrough in his physical body's origin power. He flew to the sky above the 8-Spirit Valley and took out several sound-transmitting talismans. He whispered a few words and then tossed them out to greet Xiao Hongfei, who was in seclusion. After entering the cave, Lu Kuan took out materials one by one and arranged a rather complicated array in the practice room. The runes on it were very different from the ones in the immortal cultivation world. They seemed to be some kind of ancient language. According to my deductions, the conditions for the formation of the physical body source energy are, first, the physical body has become a whole, and second, the physical body has a physical existence. If you use the method of refining, then when the physical body becomes a whole, it will turn into a pile of refining materials, and it will be impossible to generate origin energy. Lu Kuan carved the Dharma array. At the same time, he took out devil stones and embedded them. His eyes flashed with an inexplicable look. If refining doesn't work, then there's only one last way, and that's to rely on qi and demonic energy. This Dharma array was the origin array of the cloudy body tempering art that he had obtained from his bloodline memories. It was originally modified from the demon race's Enlightenment Dharma array. After being modified by Hong Yuntong, it became the origin of the cloudy body tempering art. Without it, it would be impossible to generate qi and demonic energy. When Hong Yuntong used the cloudy body tempering art to break through to the core formation stage, his body's qi and demonic energy swallowed him, and he died. Hong Yuntian cultivated the demonic zombie body tempering art. When he finally broke through to the nascent soul stage, his qi and demonic energy swallowed his entire body and turned him into a pool of liquid. Both of them failed because the qi and demonic energy swallowed their bodies. Lu Kuan's eyes revealed a bit of pride. But I, Lu Kuan, am different. Even a nascent soul stage cultivator can't do anything to a mature skeleton, let alone a mere qi and demonic energy. In the end, Hong Yuntian relied on the demonic zombie subbody to produce the physical body source energy. I, Lu Kuan, only need to rely on the physical body of the bone treasure. I don't need to rely on external objects at all. Lu Kuan quickly finished setting up this rather complicated spell formation according to his memories. Back then, Hong Yuntong had to use a blood sacrifice to replenish his own qi and demonic energy. But Lu Kuan's qi and demonic energy were incomparably vigorous. He didn't need a blood sacrifice at all. In order to prevent the demonic energy from clashing with the qi and demonic energy, he had exhausted all of his demonic energy on the way back. Lu Kuan sat cross-legged in the center of the spell formation and took a deep breath. The power of his consciousness circulated in his meridians and the spell formation in a unique way. The spell formation around him gradually lit up with a black light. The demonic qi within the demonic stone followed the patterns of the spell formation and slowly entered his body, surging towards his empty meridians. The cloudy body tempering art was the same as ordinary demonic Tao cultivation method. It circulated demonic energy in the meridians. Lu Kuan slightly stirred his blood. The rich qi and demonic energy entered his meridians. Almost in the blink of an eye, an extremely weak demonic energy that exuded an extremely greedy demonic energy appeared in his meridians. This demonic energy seemed to have sensed the enormous qi and demonic energy within Lu Kuan's body. It was somewhat fearful, but also exuded an extreme desire. Lu Kuan sensed this demonic energy and the corners of his mouth curved into a cold smile. He adjusted the spell formation beneath him, changing it into a spell formation that condensed demonic energy. At the same time, he placed a dozen demonic stones within it. Then, he formed a hand seal and began to cultivate according to the cloudy body tempering art. His blood surged, automatically sending the enormous qi and demonic energy into his meridians. That strand of demonic energy immediately madly devoured the demonic energy, rapidly growing. In his bloodline memories, Lu Kuan witnessed Hong Yuntong's demonic energy surge from the early foundation establishment stage to the core formation stage after devouring the little ape's body. He understood the nature of this demonic energy very well. As long as there was no shortage of demonic energy, it could continue to grow. With Lu Kuan's current physical body, Just the essence of his blood alone was enough to make the demonic energy vomit. The demonic energy in the gaseous state in his meridians rapidly grew. In less than a day, it directly turned into a liquid state and entered the foundation establishment stage. It was as if the bottleneck of the foundation establishment stage didn't exist. At this time, Lu Kuan's blood essence had only consumed a small portion. Lu Kuan wasn't surprised at all and continued to cultivate. Early foundation establishment stage. Middle foundation establishment stage. Late foundation establishment stage. A huge demonic energy vortex reverberated around his body. Under the infusion of a terrifying amount of demonic energy, a dark red golden core exuding a rich aura of demonic energy floated in Lu Kuan's dantian. Due to Hong Yuntong's insufficient demonic energy, he had to rely on the pure demonic energy of the true demonic pool to break through. Lu Kuan's demonic energy was as boundless as a river, and his demonic energy easily condensed into a golden core. At this moment, Lu Kuan's face was slightly pale. He had also consumed a small portion of the high-density blood he had obtained from cultivating the demonic blood-bone refining art. The demonic core of qi and blood sensed Lu Kuan's still surging body and sent out waves of desire. Lu Kuan did not stop and continued to operate. The qi and blood magic core hungrily absorbed the essence of his blood. At the same time, a large number of magic stones were consumed. After 3 days and 3 nights, the demonic core of qi and blood had grown slightly larger. A strange dark red luster was flashing on its surface, and it was exuding the aura of a middle-stage core formation cultivator as well as an astonishing amount of qi and blood. Lu Kuan's face was deathly pale at this moment. The essence of his blood had been completely consumed by the demonic qi in his blood. He didn't know if it was a coincidence, but the level of the demonic qi in his blood was exactly the same as the demonic qi in his blood that he had cultivated before. They were both at the middle core formation stage. Could it be because of the 9-star physique? He raised his eyebrows and formed a hand seal. The demonic qi in his blood churned, and a terrifying amount of qi and blood reappeared in his blood. His face became ruddy again, as if he had not cultivated the demonic qi in his blood. Lu Kuan's blood essence had formed a symbiotic relationship with the demonic core of qi and blood. Without the blood essence, the demonic qi in his blood would not reach the level of a middle-stage core formation cultivator. And Lu Kuan's blood needed the support of the demonic qi in his blood to recover to its peak state. Very good. Although the demonic qi in my blood is incomparably evil and greedy, it completely listens to my command. It's like magic power when I control it. In Lu Kuan's memory, the cloudy body tempering mantra could only be cultivated for cultivators below the core formation stage. After all, Hong Yuntong had already died when he had condensed the demonic qi in his blood. However, Lu Kuan already had his own method of cultivating from then on. He revealed a trace of ruthlessness. A crack appeared on the demonic qi in his dantian, and violent demonic qi fluctuations appeared in his body. Shatter the core. The demonic qi in the middle stage core formation stage surged out. Because there was not enough energy, it could not transform into a nascent soul. Lu Kuan was already prepared. He controlled his blood and used the blood demonic qi in his blood to attract the evil demonic qi that had lost its host space. The demonic qi in his blood immediately found its host and rushed madly into his blood. As expected, my demonic qi in my blood is different from Hong Yuntong's. It only relies on the essence of blood to grow. Therefore, when the golden core shatters, in addition to the cultivation experience of the blood demonic qi, it smoothly entered my blood. Although he had deduced it many times before, he still breathed a sigh of relief when it really succeeded. Only when the demonic qi in his blood truly merged with his blood could he proceed to the next step. Lu Kuan's forehead was covered in sweat. The risk of this step was under his control. Even if the demonic qi in his blood dissipated along with the golden core shattering, he would only lose the essence of his blood. Through magic power, his bone marrow could regenerate blood. At most, he would be able to make up for the blood essence in a year. Lu Kuan calmed down his nervous emotions and familiarized himself with the demonic qi in his blood. He found that the demonic qi's nature had not changed at all. Then, his huge divine sense, which was comparable to the nascent soul stage, soared into the sky and suppressed the greedy impulses of the demonic qi in his blood. Then, he began to use the flesh condensation technique. The reason why Lu Kuan needed to cultivate the demonic qi in his blood was to unify his blood and flesh through this abnormal energy. After his blood and flesh were condensed, the demonic qi in his blood would instinctively want to devour the essence of his organs and tendons. In this way, the essence of his blood and flesh would become a hole in the depths of his bones. Through the bloodline memory and Hong Yuntian's letter, Lu Kuan knew that although the demonic qi in his blood was extremely evil, it had an advantage, and that was its symbiotic nature with the body. Because of the symbiotic nature of the demonic qi in his blood and flesh, the demonic qi in his blood and flesh had a high probability of restoring the essence of his blood and flesh. Lu Kuan then used the flesh condensation technique to restore his body. The flesh and blood condensation technique was created by him for this stage. As early as in the Yuan mystery realm, Lu Kuan had thought of this path. However, this still had a great risk. If his judgment was wrong and the demonic qi in his blood and flesh could not restore the essence of his blood and flesh, then his body would be completely dead and only bones would be left. If I want to generate the original power of my body, this is the only way. How can I not take the risk? Lu Kuan's mind flashed with a resolute thought. His burly body shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye and gradually turned into a jade skeleton wearing a robe. He sat cross-legged on the ground, looking extremely strange. Chapter 867. After the condensation of his flesh and blood was completed, Lu Kuan's consciousness relaxed and released the suppression of his qi and blood demonic power. The greedy energy immediately surged within Lu Kuan's bones, devouring the surrounding flesh and blood essence as if it was thirsting for it. As the qi and blood demonic power was devoured, a large amount of demonic qi from the devil stones gathered and surged into the bones. Lu Kuan's consciousness fluctuated violently as an unbearable pain spread out. It was as if countless ants were gnawing at his flesh and blood. His sensory nerves were also being devoured. However, as his nerves were gradually gnawed away, the pain gradually subsided. At the same time, the feeling of his internal organs gradually disappeared. His vision above the eye sockets of his bones fell into darkness and his ears could not hear any sound. Soon, his brain was also engulfed by an increasingly large amount of qi and blood demonic power. Lu Kuan had no choice but to activate the bone concealment technique. He created to let his consciousness leave his sea of consciousness and enter the bone treasure. Without the bone concealment technique, Lu Kuan would not have dared to take such a risk. Otherwise, his sea of consciousness would have been devoured by the qi and blood demonic power. For example, the Hong brothers' consciousness had left their bodies and could only rely on the remnants of their subbodies. During the time their consciousness left their bodies, their control over their qi and blood demonic power was greatly reduced. Lu Kuan's bone concealment technique allowed his consciousness to attach itself to the bone treasure. The bone treasure was so powerful that the qi and blood demonic power could not devour it at all. Naturally, his consciousness could continue to maintain control over the qi and blood demonic power. In this way, as a large amount of demonic qi was absorbed into his body, the qi and blood demonic power in the bone treasure increased rapidly. 3 days later, it broke through the middle core formation stage and entered the late core formation stage. On the 7th day, it reached the peak core formation stage. At this time, Lu Kuan's flesh and blood essence had not been completely devoured. Some of the swelling qi and blood demonic power seemed to be unsatisfied and continued to devour. A large number of devil stones were consumed, but the qi and blood demonic power continued to increase. After another 5 days, all of Lu Kuan's flesh and blood essence had disappeared. It had been devoured by the qi and blood demonic power. At this time, the depths of his bones were filled with a golden red liquid. This liquid was incomparably thick and contained an enormous amount of qi and blood energy. What surprised Lu Kuan even more was that the fluctuations of qi and blood energy now exceeded that of the great circle of the core formation realm. In terms of quantity, it seemed to be somewhat similar to Ba Yongkai's qi and blood energy. An incomparably dense pressure spread throughout the secret chamber. It was as if an early nascent soul stage demonic cultivator was present, but it lacked the power of the nascent soul stage. Even at this level, the blood energy was still surging within his bones, as if it wanted to devour Lu Kuan's bones. But no matter how it rolled, Lu Kuan's bone treasure remained unmoved. Not even a grain of bone marrow loosened. Lu Kuan's spirit sense gushed out from the bone treasure, enveloping all of the blood essence and devil power. He forcibly operated the cloud passing body refinement art, forcing the blood essence and devil power to spit out the blood essence and flesh essence. Fortunately, his divine sense was far stronger than that of a perfected core formation cultivator. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to suppress the sudden increase in his qi and blood demonic power. As the golden red liquid calmed down, a large amount of essence was spat out and separated from its original position. The heart was in the sternum, while the spleen, lungs, and kidneys were in the ribs and spine. The tendons in the bones also slowly emerged according to the position of their respective muscles. Only the dark golden blood essence and devil power remained. At this time, the blood essence and devil power were already indistinguishable from the blood. Then, Lu Kuan used the method he used to deal with the true demonic intent. He wrapped the blood essence and devil power in blood essence crystals and hid it in the depths of his bones. Then, he injected chaotic magic power into his blood and began to operate the flesh and blood condensation technique. Tendons gradually grew on the surface of his bones, followed by a large number of muscle fibers, then blood vessels, and finally, his internal organs emerged from the blood vessels one by one. After absorbing a large amount of spiritual energy, Lu Kuan restored his physical body. The power of his divine sense also returned to his sea of consciousness. He opened his eyes and let out a breath with lingering fear. Although there were some risks, I succeeded in the end. After the blood essence was strengthened by the blood essence, it was almost weakened to the level of a foundation establishment stage cultivator. He felt the blood essence and devil power crystal in the depths of his bones. There were bursts of desire and weakness coming from it. Then, he thought of the demonic zombies in the devil refining cave and understood. The blood essence and the flesh and blood essence have a symbiotic relationship. Without the flesh and blood essence, the blood essence and devil power will be in a weakened state. It may even regress. Qian Jingshan merged the blood essence and devil cores of several demonic zombies to reach the state required by the devil refining art. However, my flesh and blood were cultivated by myself. Even if I don't rely on the blood essence and devil power, with the power of the bone treasure, my physical body is still strong. Lu Kuan's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. For me, Lu Kuan, the blood essence and devil power are not symbiotic at all. They are master and servant. I, Lu Kuan, use my physical body as the main body, and the blood essence and devil power are just servants that I use. He felt the changes in his physical body. After devouring the blood essence and devil power, there was a very subtle connection between his blood, tendons, and internal organs. It seemed that they could be transformed into each other. While thinking, Lu Kuan raised his arm. The muscles on his arm rapidly swelled. Blue veins coiled around his arm, and it grew several times larger. However, he didn't use the connecting arm's divine ability. With a boom, Lu Kuan casually smashed the ground, shattering the restrictions on the ground and creating a large hole. Then, his arm shook and returned to normal. However, the blood essence in his body decreased slightly. Lu Kuan looked pensive. That strike just now increased my strength by at least 10%. It easily activated the blood essence into the muscles and increased the attack power. Unfortunately, without the origin power of the physical body and without borrowing strength, it is still very difficult to strike out with a force of 440,000 kilograms. Then, Lu Kuan's arm quickly waved. In an instant, his arm seemed to go against the joints and struck behind him. Several fist shadows appeared on his back, and the sound of air exploding rang out incessantly. Lu Kuan was slightly stunned. Then, his entire body began to dance in the cave. His legs and arms blasted out at inconceivable angles. It was as if the elasticity of his muscles had reached the limit. With his joints as the axis, he attacked in all directions. This meant that his physical body had no blind spots. He could extend all kinds of fighting styles. It went without saying that it would increase the combat strength of a body cultivator. Lu Kuan slowly came to a stop. He thought of the time when he fought with the demonic zombies. Those top-level demonic zombies, under the support of the physical body's origin power, had removed the restrictions on their joint. It was similar to his current situation. With a thought, his sturdy muscles thinned. Those muscle fibers were transferred through his blood and attached to his internal organs, adding a layer of muscle protection to his internal organs. Then, his body trembled and returned to normal. His face was full of joy. This direction is correct. The flesh essence, under the devouring of the blood essence and devil power, has condensed into a whole body. It can be easily transferred through the blood, and my combat strength has greatly increased. Lu Kuan sensed the subtle changes in his body while pondering in his mind. Now that the blood essence and devil power have formed, the flesh and blood have become a whole, then there is only the last step left. The production of the physical body's origin power required the body to become a whole. At this time, Lu Kuan's body was divided into two parts. One part was the flesh essence that had been fused with the blood essence and devil power, and the other part was the incomparably powerful bone treasure. Lu Kuan's last step was to fuse these two parts into one, and the medium in the middle was still the blood essence and devil power. Lu Kuan sensed the weak blood essence and devil power in the depths of his bone marrow and pondered. The strength of my bone treasure is stronger than the bones of a demonic general. Even if the blood essence and devil power is comparable to the early nascent soul stage, it is impossible to devour it. Then, there is only one way to fuse it. That is to use the blood essence and devil power to refine my mature bone treasure in the same way that cultivators refine magic treasures. Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with golden light as he looked at his bones. Core formation stage cultivators refine magic treasures, absorb them into their bodies, and fuse them with their magic power. It is the same for nascent soul stage cultivators. Although my bones are a part of my body, they are also an incomparably terrifying life source magic treasure. My chi and blood devil power is incomparably vigorous under the support of the essence of my flesh and blood. It is not cultivated through the bone treasure, so it can be completely refined. As long as the blood essence and devil power successfully refine this bone treasure, the body will become a whole, and a whole with a physical body attached to it. This satisfies the conditions for the production of the physical body's origin power. Chapter 868. Lu Kuan sat cross-legged in the magic stone array. He concentrated part of the essence of his flesh and blood, and added it to the chi and blood demonic power in the depths of his blood. At the same time, he released a little chaotic mana, allowing the two to converge in his bones. But what was strange was that the two conflicting energies, demonic power and mana, did not produce a strong rejection, and even had a tendency to fuse. Lu Kuan revealed a thoughtful expression. The mana of the Bone Treasure stage body cultivator grew with the Bone Treasure as the Dantian, and became one with the Bone Treasure. The Blood Demonic Power and Chi and Blood Demonic Power were all cultivated through other parts of the body, and were different from the Bone Treasure. So demonic power could refine the Bone Treasure. Lu Kuan once showed signs of the fusion of the Blood Demonic Power and Thunder Attribute mana during the middle stage of the Bone Treasure stage cultivation. Now it seemed that this phenomenon showed that the demonic power had an opportunity to refine the Bone Treasure. Before Lu Kuan reached the middle stage of the Bone Treasure stage, the Blood Demonic Power was still at the Foundation Establishment stage, and naturally there was no opportunity to refine the Bone Treasure. After reaching the middle stage of the Bone Treasure stage, with the help of the 9-star physique, he forcibly cultivated the Blood Demonic Power of the middle stage of the Core Formation stage, which was similar to the Thunder Mana of the Bone Treasure. After a long time, it naturally produced an opportunity to refine the Bone Treasure. Now his Chi and Blood Demonic Power had surpassed the Great Circle of the Core Formation stage, and the mana in the Bone Treasure was not only at the level of the Great Circle of the Core Formation stage, but also of the 5 elements Chaos attribute. Moreover, the origin of the Chi and Blood Demonic Power was the essence of the flesh and blood, and the origin of the Chaos Mana was the Bone Treasure. Both were Lu Kuan's flesh, and with the characteristic of the Chi and Blood Demonic Power devouring the flesh, the demonic power could completely refine the Bone Treasure. Lu Kuan took a deep breath, adjusted the Chaos Mana, and turned it into mana crystals to merge into the Bone Treasure. Then, he used the flesh and blood condensation technique to condense the essence of the flesh and blood demonic power. Gradually, Lu Kuan turned into crystal-clear jade bones. An incomparably thick demonic power aura that far exceeded the Great Circle of the Core Formation stage appeared in this cave. Lu Kuan's spiritual will was stored in the Bone Treasure. He used a refining technique that any Core Formation stage cultivator would use. A huge amount of demonic chi and blood began to surge within the Bone Treasure. A large amount of demonic chi began to gather towards his bones. What he wanted to refine was not 1 or 2 magic treasures, but 206 inlaid matured magic treasures, which would certainly consume a lot of time and devil chi. 1 day, 5 days, 20 days. For 10 whole days, Lu Kuan's Bone Treasure did not change at all. His chi and blood surged in vain. It seemed that even with the art of refining, it could not do anything to this sparkling and translucent Bone Treasure. There was not even a trace of refining. All of a sudden, a 5-colored halo appeared around the Bone Treasure. Deep inside the Bone Treasure, a dark spot lit up. The chaos power surged out of the Bone Treasure and merged with the golden red blood chi demonic power. Lu Kuan's divine soul fluctuated. What's going on? The blood chi demonic power hasn't refined the Bone Treasure, but it has already merged with the chaos power. Isn't that demonic power the Bone Treasure's magic power? It's even more impossible to refine the Bone Treasure. He hurriedly stopped the refining technique and forcibly suppressed the chaos power and blood chi demonic power. The blood chi demonic power is so huge, but it can't even refine a trace of the Bone Treasure in 10 days. Could it be because the Bone Treasure has merged with the silver dragon meteorite iron, and the material is too strong? The 5-colored halo and demonic spot that appeared just now caused the blood chi demonic power and the chaos power to merge quickly. Is it because of the J-Bone humanoid devil's attribute? Lu Kuan thought for a moment and guessed the reason. The J-Bone humanoid devil was refined by the Yuan sect by fusing the great 5 elements force with the essence of the demon race in order to resist the true demon intent. The chaos power in Lu Kuan's body was equivalent to the great 5 elements force, while the blood chi demonic power was equivalent to the essence of the demon race. Under the influence of the Jade-Bone humanoid devil's attribute, their fusion was accelerated. Lu Kuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Old Demon Pang, a great cultivator, had helped him refine the 5 elements Chaos Demon Bone. Not only was it extremely difficult to refine, but it also accelerated the fusion of demonic power and blood chi, which was the biggest obstacle to his self-refining. According to Lu Kuan's deduction, self-refining was the last step to generate the origin power of the physical body. If I use my own cultivation method to enter the realm of great success of the bone treasure, the difficulty of refining the bone treasure will be greatly reduced without the silver dragon meteorite iron. Without the jade bone humanoid devil's attribute, the demonic power and blood chi demonic power won't merge so quickly and self-refining won't be so difficult. Lu Kuan calmed himself down and forced himself to calm down. There were pros and cons to everything. Although the obstacle to his breakthrough was great, his great success bone treasure had fused with the silver dragon meteorite iron, and its defensive power had completely exceeded his current realm. He could remain unscathed in the aftermath of a late nascent soul stage battle. As for the jade bone humanoid devil's attribute, it seemed to have something to do with breaking through to the spirit severing stage. He vaguely heard old Demon Pang say that the conflict between the heaven and earth Yuan Qi and demonic Yuan Qi might be of great use in the future. When encountering a problem, one had to think of a way to solve it. There was always a worst way. Lu Kuan pondered, chaos demonic power and bone treasure are one, while blood chi demonic power is the other. Now that the bone treasure is too powerful, the blood chi demonic power is at a disadvantage. I need to balance the two. But under the effect of the 9 stars physique, the blood chi demonic power has already surpassed the great circle of the core formation stage. The total amount is even close to the early nascent soul stage. There's no way to increase this amount. Moreover, the demonic power attribute has already been fixed. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan was suddenly shocked. That's right, the demonic power attribute. Hong Yuntian's blood chi demonic power. Lu Kuan waved his bone claw, and 2 demonic corpses emitting dense corpse chi appeared in front of him. One of them was a late core formation demonic zombie at the outermost periphery of the devil refinement cave, while the other was a top-grade demonic zombie at the center. Lu Kuan's skeletal eye sockets flickered with a faint golden light. These 2 demonic zombies were formed by a demonic zombie body refiner who failed to break through to the nascent soul stage. The blood chi demonic power of the peak core formation stage and the demonic zombie subbody. After tens of thousands of years, the blood chi demonic power has already weakened. This top-grade demonic zombie relied on the body of a mid-devil general to maintain its blood chi demonic power at the peak core formation stage. The other demonic zombie's body was only at the early core formation stage, but it directly degenerated to the late core formation stage. His soul trembled. If I devour these 2 demonic cores, the blood chi demonic power in my body will increase exponentially. It will also fuse with the Yin attribute of the nether insects. Even with the jade bone humanoid devil's effect, the blood chi demonic power won't fuse with the chaos demonic power so quickly. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan began to absorb the dense spirit chi in the surroundings. He circulated the flesh condensation art and slowly recovered his body. According to Hong Yuntian's notes, the nether demonic power has a huge hidden danger. It will produce bloodthirsty thoughts towards the consciousness. I, Lu Kuan, am not even afraid of the true demon intent. What can this nether demonic power do to me? In the Yuan secret realm, Hong Yuntian, who transformed into the leader of the demonic zombies, was clear-headed after awakening. The other demonic zombies also had their consciousness greatly enhanced with the support of their physical body origin power. Clearly, physical body origin power is the solution to the nether demonic power. As long as physical body origin power is generated, with the amazing defensive power of my bone treasure and the support of the arm connection ability, my strength will increase to a terrifying level. Lu Kuan's face, which was gradually covered by muscle fibers, revealed a somewhat cruel and sinister smile. His slightly empty eye sockets seemed to be burning with scorching flames. Chapter 869. Half a day later, Lu Kuan's body was restored to its original state. He formed a claw with one hand and waved it forward with a whistling sound. With a cracking sound, the incomparably hard purple-black scales were easily crushed by the terrifying power. A purple-black golden core mixed with a dense cold aura fell into Lu Kuan's hand. This dark magic core had the fluctuations of a late core formation realm cultivator and was surging with thirst and greed. Golden light flashed in Lu Kuan's eyes and he swallowed the dark magic core without hesitation. Then, his body quickly dried up as the essence of his flesh and blood merged with his demonic qi. The incomparably dense golden-red liquid demonic qi in his body immediately wrapped around the dark magic core. The purple-black liquid was unwillingly swallowed up. At this time, the chaotic magic power in Lu Kuan's bones took the lead and merged with the purple-black liquid. A powerful destructive force surged in his body. Lu Kuan opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of dark red blood essence. It landed on the ground in front of him and emitted a rotten smell. The demonic qi core was cultivated by a demonic zombie body refiner and contained the essence of the demonic zombie body refiner. Although it was also of the human race, it also had many impurities that could not be merged with Lu Kuan's. The destructive force produced by the chaotic magic power and the unfamiliar demonic qi was suitable for purification. Lu Kuan still remembered the strange demonic beasts in the demonic beast garden. He did not want to absorb the essence of others and cause his body to mutate. As he spat out this mouthful of impurities, the golden-red demonic qi core took the opportunity to absorb the weakened demonic qi essence and devour the energy of the same origin. 1 day, 2 days. It was not until the 3rd day that Lu Kuan stopped casting. A large pool of dark red blood essence had accumulated in front of him, and a strong rotten smell filled the cave. In 3 days, the demonic qi core in his body had increased by more than 10% and there was an additional cold aura. Just as Lu Kuan had guessed, his attributes had changed. After Lu Kuan recovered his magic power, he looked at the other demonic zombie and used the same method 3 times to break open its abdomen. He took out a peak core formation realm demonic qi core and swallowed it. Unexpectedly, the demonic qi core turned into a liquid as soon as it entered his body. It avoided Lu Kuan's demonic qi and demonic qi core and rushed towards the translucent bones. What cunning energy! It was Lu Kuan's demonic qi and demonic qi core. It seemed to know how powerful his demonic qi core was and demonic qi core and demonic qi core and wanted to devour his bones to strengthen it. That purple-black liquid nether demonic power quickly spread all over the bones, transforming into tiny energy dots that tried to devour the bones, letting out an ear-piercing sound of friction. Demonic chi core demonic chi core demonic chi. Flows of obliterating aura that were even stronger rippled out and blasted many bloody holes on Lu Kuan's shriveled skin. Stinky essence blood oozed out from those holes. The golden-red chi blood demonic power attacked from the back, tightly wrapping around the outside of the bones and responding with the chaos magic power. The purplish-black nether demonic energy had no way out and could only be slowly eaten away by the two. During this devouring process, a strong bloodthirsty intent gradually appeared in his chi and blood, but when he used the art of hiding bone, this intent could not affect him. This time, the devouring speed was very fast. In just a day, all of the energy in the blood chi dark core had been absorbed, and there was a large amount of rotten blood essence residue in the surroundings. Lu Kuan shot out a stream of true fire, incinerating the impurities in the flesh and blood. Then, he activated the flesh and blood condensation technique, allowing the flesh to transform back and forth between the white bones and the human body. According to his understanding of the flesh and blood, during the rebirth of the flesh and blood, the impurities in the flesh and blood would emerge. He could then use the chi blood demonic power and chaos magic power to expel them from the body. After more than 10 days, as some of the impurities in the flesh and blood were expelled, Lu Kuan, who had turned back into a body of white bones, exuded an incomparably dense aura of cold demonic power. At this time, the attribute of the chi blood demonic power was even colder and contained a bloodthirsty intent. The degree of its density was 50% higher than before. Lu Kuan's bones were filled with the golden red liquid chi blood demonic power. Such an enormous amount of demonic power, except for the fact that it did not have the power of a nascent soul, even surpassed that of a demonic cultivator who had just entered the nascent soul stage. Lu Kuan sat silently, adjusting his magic power and demonic power to the best state, and then activated the art of treasure refining. The incomparably dense demonic power of blood demonic power once again surged in his bones. Unlike last time, not long after the art of treasure refining was activated, the bone treasure flashed with countless rays of light, and all of the bones trembled slightly, producing creaking sounds. The bone treasure is subconsciously resisting the refinement. It works. Lu Kuan was overjoyed. He hurriedly suppressed the chaos magic power, withdrew the light, and controlled the bone treasure to meet the refinement of the chi blood demonic power. A large amount of pure demonic chi gushed out from the magic stone array, replenishing the consumption of the chi blood demonic power. As the refinement progressed, there was no pain in the bones. Instead, there was a burst of numbness. Lu Kuan felt as if he was in his mother's fetus. It was incomparably comfortable, and waves of sleepiness invaded his divine sense. Not good. Lu Kuan shuddered. His divine sense moved, and a thick necklace of wooden beads hung on his neck. Waves of coolness came from the demon soul wooden beads, dispelling most of the sleepiness. Lu Kuan felt a burst of fear. The divine sense and the bone treasure became one. When the chi blood demonic power refined the bone treasure, it also refined the divine sense. If I fell asleep just now, wouldn't I also be refined by the chi blood demonic power and lose my consciousness? That's right, the bone treasure is being refined step by step. I can transfer a small part of my divine sense to the bone treasure that has been refined. Lu Kuan did as he thought. He separated a little bit of his divine sense into the chi blood demonic power, resisting the bloodthirsty demonic power, and quickly transferred it. When these threads of divine sense entered the refined bone treasure, he suddenly felt very awake. After finding a way, Lu Kuan used the cool aura of the demon soul wood to gradually transfer his divine sense as the refinement progressed. He did not know if it was because of the transfer, but the strength of Lu Kuan's divine sense began to steadily increase. And in the process of transferring his divine sense, he could feel that part of the refined bone treasure had a special connection with the chi blood demonic power, as if the cells were fused together. Lu Kuan carefully felt this wonderful physical condition, and at the same time, recalled the feeling that the original physical strength gave him. 10 days, 20 days, 1 month, after a full 3 months and nearly 100,000 devil stones, Lu Kuan's entire bone treasure was finally completely refined by the chi blood demonic power. The moment the refinement succeeded, Lu Kuan's divine sense seemed to have undergone some kind of sublimation, and it violently trembled. The spiritual chi of the entire demon soul island was also strongly attracted, forming a large spiritual chi vortex. It carried an enormous spiritual chi pressure as it madly poured into Lu Kuan's cave residence. All the remaining devil stones on the ground shattered at the same time, turning into dense demonic chi that entered the jade bone. The golden red chi blood demonic power and the milky white primal chaos power began to fuse together. Although the chi blood demonic power was much more vigorous, the primal chaos power had a special attribute, and with the help of endless pure spiritual chi, it was not at a disadvantage in the fusion process. As the two fused, a trace of silver energy appeared in the bone. At the same time, the surface of the sparkling and translucent jade bone lit up with complicated patterns. These patterns were the most important arrays of the sentient puppet that old Devil Pang had drawn when refining the jade bone humanoid devil. Elemental Spirit Array. A mysterious and strange aura appeared in the Elemental Spirit Array. Lu Kuan's jade bone trembled slightly, and as if it had lost its weight, it slowly floated up. Gradually, the silver energy fused together with the elemental spirit array grew more and more powerful. The spiritual chi vortex and dense demonic chi in the surroundings began to distort unnaturally. After a while, the entire cave residence began to tremble. The restrictions that enveloped the walls flickered incessantly, as if they were under some kind of attack. A large amount of devil stone fragments and array materials on the ground floated up strangely under the slight tremors of the cave residents. As if attracted by some kind of force, they surged toward Lu Kuan's jade bone. However, when they were 3 feet away from the jade bone, they were crushed into powder by an invisible and terrifying force. First, set a small goal. For example, 1 second. Remember, book guest house. Chapter 870. On Demon Spirit Island, countless amounts of spirit chi were inexplicably affected. They turned into colorful spirit chi vortexes that carried an inexplicable pressure and gathered towards Lu Kuan's cave. The animals on the island were extremely frightened and ran towards the edge of Demon Spirit Island. In the Demon Chi area, the black mountain apes that were full of spirit chi seemed to be under greater pressure. They all crawled on the ground and trembled. Dahe stood beside the demon spirit wood. It felt the change and pressure of the spirit chi, and its monkey face showed a human-like expression of excitement. Xiao Hongfei and Lu Zhao's figures floated above the 8-spirit valley. The two of them widened their eyes and looked at the spirit chi phenomenon in disbelief. The pressure formed by the spirit chi vortexes shocked even with their core formation cultivation. What realm is Lu Shidi breaking through? Is the late core formation stage so terrifying? Lu Xiao murmured. A while ago, Lu Kuan's message said that he was going into seclusion, but he didn't say what realm he was breaking through. And according to the news he received, Lu Kuan had been thinking of ways to break through to the late bone treasure realm. But the scene now looked like Xiao Hongfei's expression was complicated. He said with some difficulty, "This is not the late core formation stage. Such a terrifying spirit chi phenomenon will only appear when one is breaking through to the nascent soul stage." Lu Kuan created his own cultivation method and reached this step so quickly. Lu Xiao was stunned and then said with joy, "Brother Xiao, is what you said true? Lu Shidi's spirit chi phenomenon is a nascent soul stage breakthrough?" Xiao Hongfei clenched his fist and his eyes flashed with unwillingness. "Once in the Shangqing sect, I was lucky enough to see the spirit chi phenomenon of an elder in the sect. Besides, if it wasn't a nascent soul stage breakthrough, how could there be such a terrifying pressure?" Xiao Hongfei's voice was slightly bitter. He thought that he was a genius. He used the ancient core formation method to condense a golden core, and his spiritual sense was far superior to his peers. Now, he was less than 300 years old and had reached the peak of the middle core formation stage. He hadn't expected that Lu Kuan, who had been weaker than him back then, would actually be so much ahead of him. Just as the two of them were exclaiming in amazement, the restriction outside Lu Kuan's cave suddenly shattered. Cracks also appeared on the rocks of the cave's mountain peak. Xiao Hongfei and Lu Xiao couldn't help but feel their hearts palpitate. They could faintly feel a strange energy coming out from these cracks, and the surrounding spiritual energy vortex became even more turbulent. Bang! In the next moment, a huge explosion was heard. The cave completely exploded, turning into a pile of scattered rocks. However, the strange thing was that these rocks were not blown away. Instead, they floated around the cave as if they were weightless. In the cracks of the mountain rocks, one could faintly see a sparkling and translucent jade skeleton floating in the middle. The spiritual chi vortex that filled the sky was converging towards this jade skeleton, and at the bottom, there was a large amount of demonic chi surging. The jade skeleton seemed to be emitting some kind of special energy, and the mountain rocks that came into contact with it were all turned into fine powder. 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet gradually extended. The fine powder mixed with the spiritual chi vortex and surrounded the jade skeleton, appearing extremely strange. It was like a strange force field, and the jade skeleton was the center of this force field. Xiao Hongfei and Lu Zhao's palpitations became more and more serious. Their skin even broke out in goosebumps as they felt a burst of coldness, causing the two of them to subconsciously put up a magical shield. How did Lu Shidi turn into a skeleton? But the spiritual chi fluctuations and this pressure. Lu Xiao was dumbfounded, his face full of disbelief. Xiao Hongfei also revealed a look of confusion. The physical body had turned into a skeleton, clearly dead. The soul of an immortal cultivator without a physical body couldn't survive for too long. However, Lu Kuan's skeleton seemed to be like a complete physical body, absorbing a large amount of spiritual chi. It didn't have a nascent soul, but it showed signs of nascent soul formation. It also emitted a strange pressure that they had never encountered before. As time passed, the strange force field emitted by the jade skeleton continued to spread. 3 feet, 4 feet, until it reached 5 feet. Suddenly, an incomparably dull roar came from the sky above Demon Spirit Island. The demonic chi, spiritual chi, and even the demonic chi hidden under the sea began to tremble. Some of the small chaotic storms directly dissipated on their own, as if they were afraid of something. At some unknown time, a large amount of dark clouds began to gather in the sky above the chaotic ocean. The sky was completely dark, and traces of shocking lightning flashed within. The huge dark clouds began to rotate with Demon Spirit Island as the center. Traces of lightning gradually fused within it, as if it was nurturing some kind of terrifying lightning. A world-destroying aura spread out from the dark clouds. Under this world-destroying pressure, Demon Spirit Island slightly trembled and emerged from its invisible state. The light barrier outside lit up with a faint halo. This kind of ancient restriction had no choice but to reveal its true form. Xiao Hongfei and Lu Xiao looked at the strange phenomenon in the sky above Demon Spirit Island with a dumbstruck expression. They had only heard that when a 7th-grade demon beast broke through to the 8th grade and took human form, it would encounter a tribulation lightning. However, they had never heard of a tribulation lightning when a cultivator broke through to the nascent soul stage. Not to mention, the tribulation lightning before them was extremely terrifying. Even through the light barrier around Demon Spirit Island, they could still feel the destructive energy. The magic energy in their bodies was even emitting a feeling of fear, wanting to retreat into their golden cores. Just as the dark clouds gathered above the chaotic sea, the abyssal island also began to tremble slightly. The light barrier around the entire island lit up, and all of the cultivators were bewildered. Even the core nascent soul cultivators of the abyssal island were startled awake and bewildered by what was happening. Somewhere on Abyss Island, a middle-aged woman raised her eyes and looked at the chaotic ocean. Her tone was a little surprised, as if she was talking to herself. "It's just a trace of the tribulation lightning. How did it wake you up?" Following her words, Abyss Island calmed down again, as if the tremor just now was an illusion. After a while, the middle-aged woman's expression changed. Her eyes flashed with disbelief. "No, this isn't an ordinary tribulation lightning. Even from so far away, I can feel the violent yuan qi of heaven and earth. Even the top bloodline of the ancient demon clan couldn't trigger such a terrifying tribulation lightning. It's as if the whole world is angry." Then, the middle-aged woman's figure flashed and disappeared. As the dark clouds gathered, the body cultivators of the first generation in the warrior's holy city flew out one after another. Sher Chao, Yuxian, Pan Yen, and Xiao Jin were all here. The 3 people and 1 monkey looked at Demon Spirit Island and the dense dark clouds with a stunned expression. Xiao Jin seemed to have understood something. She was dancing and screaming anxiously. They didn't hesitate and flew toward Demon Spirit Island. 1,000 miles away from the chaotic ocean, an old man in a fiery red robe with sparse hair floated in the air. A tricolored flame flashed in his hand, emitting an extremely hot temperature. As if he felt something, the old man raised his head and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. This is the aura of the tribulation lightning. A demon cultivator actually broke through in the inner sea. This is my opportunity. Then, he looked at the tricolored flame in his hand and snorted. Oh, Yangla's triyoung flame is also in that direction. Humph, how dare you steal my scorching sunsek's heavenly flame? You must be tired of living. I'll deal with you together. After saying that, the old man's spiritual power surged and turned into a dazzling flame escape light, flying into the distance. Apart from this old man, all the cultivators with profound magic power within a 1,000-kilometer radius felt this shocking phenomenon. First, set a small goal. For example, 1 second. Remember, book house. Chapter 871. Lu Kuan raised his skull. His empty eye sockets flashed with a trace of golden light as he looked at the black clouds emitting a destructive aura. He could clearly feel that the tribulation cloud had locked onto him. No matter if he dodged or not, the tribulation cloud's lightning would strike his body. What's more, Lu Kuan didn't have the spare energy to dodge. At this time, his body was in a very subtle state. All of his cells seemed to have become the same origin, promoting the fusion of his vitality and spiritual power. The silver energy produced by the two was the origin energy of his body. With the help of the spirit array, it immediately produced the origin energy of his body. The strange force field that spread to a range of 15 meters was the manifestation of the origin energy of his body. But for some reason, when the fusion of his vitality and spiritual power was halfway through, it became incomparably slow. The range of his origin energy was also stuck at 15 meters. In his bones, the essence of his body was in a state of separation. Half of it was in his vitality, and the other half was in the silver energy. In this state, he couldn't restore his body. If the fusion of vitality and spiritual power suddenly stopped, it would likely lead to the loss of his body's essence. At that time, even if the silver energy was completely transformed, he wouldn't be able to restore his body. Therefore, the most important thing for Lu Kuan now was to focus on maintaining the fusion of his vitality and spiritual power. He couldn't be interrupted by the tribulation lightning. Only when the essence of his body was complete and completely fused with the silver energy would his body's origin energy be completely generated. Only then would he be considered to have completed his breakthrough. Lu Kuan's empty eye sockets flashed with an inexplicable light. If a body cultivator breaks through to the bone treasure stage like a demon cultivator breaking through to the 7th rank, there would be a tribulation lightning. This would instead confirm the path I deduced. After a demon cultivator goes through a transformation tribulation lightning, they can transform into a human and flexibly use the spells of a cultivator. There would be a qualitative change. Similarly, after a body cultivator goes through a tribulation lightning, there would definitely be a shocking change. This would lead to the wrath of the heavens and earth, creating a tribulation lightning to prevent a high-level body cultivator from appearing. While Lu Kuan was pondering, a purple bolt of lightning that was as thick as a millstone surged out from the pitch-black vortex. Dense plasma surged within it, and it even contained a destructive force. Under the unique aura of the lightning tribulation, the restrictions around Demon Spirit Island seemed to be affected and dissipated layer by layer. The entire island was exposed to the chaotic ocean. This thick lightning tribulation descended from the sky and blasted directly onto Lu Kuan's skeleton. Like a purple pillar of light, a large amount of dense lightning flashed on the crystal-clear skeleton, and a huge destructive aura filled it. The two nearby mountain peaks were easily reduced to ashes by a few flashes of lightning. However, such dense and terrifying lightning was completely helpless against a mere human skeleton. The purple lightning pillar, which contained a destructive aura, was forcibly drained of its offensive power by the terrifying defensive power of the bones. It turned into 5-colored spiritual energy and entered Lu Kuan's bones. As this incomparably pure 5-element spirit chi, the slow fusion of magic power accelerated, and the invisible force field aura of the physical origin power also began to spread. Hundreds of feet away, Xiao Hongfei looked at the jade-like skeleton that didn't even have a single crack and muttered, "That lightning tribulation just now contained a destructive power." Its attack power was no less than an all-out attack from an early nascent soul cultivator. Even if Lu Kuan's skeleton is comparable to a magic treasure, how could it be unharmed? Fear flashed in his eyes. Hundreds of feet away, all the magic power in his body was withdrawn. This destructive power was probably even stronger than the power of an ordinary nascent soul cultivator. If that lightning tribulation had fallen on him and Xiao Hongfei, they wouldn't have been able to resist, and would have been blasted to ashes without being able to use magic power. The black tribulation clouds in the sky seemed to have sensed Lu Kuan's situation and angrily roiled. In just 10 breaths of time, a second thick lightning bolt descended from the sky. Although it didn't seem to have changed in size, the destructive power inside was even stronger. It was like the power of a peak early nascent soul cultivator. The countless lightning bolts inside also turned dark purple. Rumble, accompanied by the deafening sound of thunder, a large number of dark purple tiny lightning bolts bombarded outside the white skeleton. A huge destructive aura surged. The cavern under Lu Kuan was leveled by the residual power, and all kinds of restrictions disappeared without a trace. Wrapped in the thick plasma, a dazzling purple light suddenly flashed in the depths of the jade-like skeleton. The destructive power of the lightning tribulation was consumed at a rapid speed. When Lu Xiao saw this from afar, he seemed to have thought of something. He said excitedly, "That's right, Junior Martial Brother Lu has the hidden thunder spirit root. I've heard Junior Martial Brother mention before that his hidden spiritual root's divine ability is lightning resistance. The lightning tribulation is also a kind of lightning attack." Xiao Hongfei looked at the skeleton flashing with lightning in the distance and said with a stunned expression, "You said that Lu Kuan's body has lightning resistance, which greatly reduces the actual power of the lightning tribulation. That's why he can easily resist the lightning tribulation?" Lu Zhao's expression relaxed a lot. He said, "Lightning resistance should only be part of the reason. Since Lu Shidi is breaking through a big realm, he has naturally entered the late stage of bone treasure. According to Junior Brother Qin, when a body cultivator enters the late stage of bone treasure, his skeleton is equivalent to a magic treasure of the mature stage. The material of the skeleton is terrifying, almost the same as the life magic treasure of a nascent soul stage senior." Xiao Hongfei's throat was a little dry as he looked into the distance. Sure enough, the second lightning tribulation exhausted the destructive power and turned into pure spirit chi. At this time, a large pile of black stones appeared outside the jade-like skeleton, exuding an incomparably dense devil chi and entering the skeleton together with the spirit chi. Devil stones? Lu Kuan is only left with a skeleton. Where did he get the storage bag? Did Junior Brother hide his body and storage bag in the skeleton? The two people had blank looks on their faces. This kind of situation of a white skeleton transcending tribulation already exceeded their understanding. As Lu Kuan passed the second lightning tribulation, the tribulation clouds in the sky began to rotate faster. The chaotic spirit chi and devil chi near the demon spirit island seemed to be attracted by something and crazily poured into the tribulation clouds. A bolt of purplish-black lightning, as thick as a bucket, slowly poked its head out of the tribulation cloud vortex. In addition to the powerful destructive power, there was also a faint purplish halo that wrapped around this bolt of lightning. It emitted a completely different and terrifying pressure. After Xiao Hongfei saw this layer of halo, his body trembled a little. He said in disbelief, "Is it the world's essence chi? How is this possible? No matter how strong the lightning tribulation is, it can't contain the world's essence chi." Lu Xiao also felt the pressure formed by this halo. He suppressed the panic in his heart and said, "Brother Xiao, what is the world's essence qi? Is it stronger than the power of a nascent soul stage?" Xiao Hongfei's eyes flashed with extreme fear. "I also read in the ancient books of the Shang-Qing sect that the world's essence qi is the energy hidden in the depths of the spirit qi. It is part of the composition of this world. Only the legendary soul formation stage cultivators can freely control the world's essence qi. And late-stage nascent soul stage cultivators can barely add a trace of the world's essence qi to their attacks with the help of the nascent soul stage. With the help of the world's essence qi, their magical power is far beyond that of a mid-stage nascent soul stage cultivator. In the cultivation world where soul formation stage cultivators are nowhere to be seen, late-stage nascent soul stage cultivators are the top existences, so they are called grand cultivators." Lu Xiao looked at the slowly descending third lightning tribulation with an extremely ugly expression. In other words, Lu Shidi is going to face the attack of a grand cultivator this time? Xiao Hongfei's expression was solemn. He shook his head slightly and said, "Although it contains the world's essence qi, the destructive power of this lightning tribulation itself seems to be similar to the second one. It is equivalent to the peak of early-stage nascent soul stage, far weaker than the attack of a grand cultivator." This sentence made Lu Xiao breathe a sigh of relief, but his eyes still flashed with worry. Xiao Hongfei's eyes were burning as he felt the aura of this lightning tribulation with all his heart. If he could comprehend the world's essence qi, he might be able to make another breakthrough in his cultivation. This lightning tribulation was only 3 meters long and as thick as a water bucket. It was very slow, and it only landed on Lu Kuan's jade bones after dozens of breaths. Boom! A purplish-black lightning ball emitting a purple halo enveloped the tiny human skeleton. Waves of distorted ripples appeared in the air, and the surrounding spirit chi vortex turned into clouds and dispersed with a loud bang. Gradually, the purple halo outside the lightning ball slowly dissipated, and the destructive power inside was also rapidly depleted. After about 10 breaths, the lightning ball's color faded and turned into 5-colored pure spirit chi. At the same time, a pitch-black demon qi appeared out of thin air. At this moment, Lu Kuan's bones were no longer crystal clear, and there were countless charred marks on them. Even so, the bones were still intact, and there were no cracks on them. The lightning ball turned into pure spirit qi and demon qi and surged into the bones at the same time. The surrounding strange force field expanded again, and the range reached 8 meters. First, set a small target, such as 1 second. Remember, book guest residence. Chapter 872. Is this the power of the qi of heaven and earth? Lu Kuan's divine will had completed its transformation when the original power of his body was formed. It had almost reached the peak of the nascent soul stage. Naturally, he heard Xiao Hongfei's words. He had once felt the supernatural power of a great cultivator in old Demon Pang's cave residence. It was indeed similar to the special pressure of the third lightning tribulation. When old Demon Pang released his divine will and subdued the 2 great cultivators, the qi of heaven and earth seemed to be more powerful than this lightning tribulation. Although the bone treasure's defense was not broken after being struck by the lightning tribulation that contained the qi of heaven and earth, its spirituality was damaged. One had to know that his bone treasure had merged with the silver dragon meteorite iron. Its defense was terrifying and it had the help of lightning resistance. This could damage the spirituality of the bone treasure. Obviously, the lightning tribulation had become a threat to him after it contained the qi of heaven and earth. Lu Kuan could feel that the lightning tribulation was far from over. If the destructive power of the lightning tribulation continued to increase and contain the qi of heaven and earth, his bone treasure would not be able to withstand it. To deal with the lightning tribulation later, he had to completely merge his mana and demonic power and restore his body to its strongest state. Lu Kuan himself did not know how terrifying his power would be after entering a new realm. He also had a premonition that with the original power of his body, he would definitely be able to resist the destructive power of the lightning tribulation. Moreover, with the bone treasure of his body, he would have an additional layer of protection. As long as the bone treasure was not damaged and the essence of his body was not lost, his body would not die. He could use the method of condensing his flesh and blood to continuously recover. Lu Kuan focused his mind and focused on controlling the two energies in his bones to speed up their fusion. He faintly sensed that what was preventing the fusion of the two energies was the cold Een attribute of the nether demonic power, which was the energy of the nether insect tribe. Although the cold Een energy was not much with it, it was equivalent to the fusion of the three attributes. Naturally, the difficulty increased greatly. Fortunately, the spiritual energy formed by the lightning tribulation contained some kind of rich life force. It neutralized the influence of the cold Een energy, allowing the demonic power and chaotic mana to continue fusing. In the third lightning tribulation, other than the spiritual energy and life force, it also contained extremely pure demonic chi. Lu Kuan guessed that this lightning tribulation had absorbed both the heaven-earth essence chi and the devil essence chi in the devil chi, so there was the existence of pure devil chi. It was also thanks to this. Otherwise, with just the magic stones, the energy supply of chi, blood, and mana would not be enough. Boom! In the distant sky, another deafening sound flashed. A bolt of tribulation lightning that was thicker than a millstone descended from the sky. The destructive power contained within it had doubled. In Lu Kuan's perception, it was similar to the cold Een power of the abyss scorpion. It was a destructive power at the middle yuanying stage. But what made him relax was that this lightning tribulation did not contain any heaven-earth yuan chi. At this time, the life force in the skeleton had been exhausted and the energy had been fused to 80%. Lu Kuan was a little anxious. Under the effect of his physical body's source energy, the skeleton took the initiative to soar into the air and meet the powerful mid-nascent soul stage tribulation lightning. Rumble! Thick electric sparks flashed in the sky and the demon spirit island turned into a purple world. The incomparably thick pillar of lightning wrapped around Lu Kuan's skeleton and let out ear-piercing thunderous sounds. Sure enough, as Lu Kuan expected, although the destructive power of the fourth lightning tribulation had greatly increased, under the weakening of his lightning resistance, it was still unable to do anything to the bone treasure. Instead, its power was weaker than the third lightning tribulation. Gradually, the exhausted lightning tribulation could only helplessly transform into pure spiritual energy and life force. Lu Kuan scattered a pile of magic stones and absorbed the demonic chi within to speed up the fusion of the energy in his body. The life force of each lightning tribulation was strengthened, but the further it went, the greater the resistance to the fusion of energy. This fourth lightning tribulation barely allowed the silver energy within the skeleton to reach 90%. The source energy of his physical body also radiated out to 90 feet away. Lu Kuan's jade skeleton floated in the air and impatiently looked at the thick tribulation clouds in the sky. He only needed one more strand of life force for the silver energy within his body to be completely formed. Boom! As if it knew what Lu Kuan was thinking, the fifth bolt of tribulation lightning struck down from the vortex of tribulation clouds. The incomparably thick lightning and the deep purple electric light were so huge that they couldn't be any bigger. The destructive power contained within was even more vigorous, as if it was only a step away from a grand cultivator like Shi Jingtian. Clearly, it had reached the peak of the mid-nascent soul stage. However, there was still no heaven-earth yuan chi within this lightning tribulation. Lu Kuan did not have the slightest fear. After experiencing several lightning tribulations, he discovered that the power of the hidden spiritual root seemed to be able to weaken the power of lightning by half. When the fifth lightning tribulation landed on his skeleton, it was probably only at the mid-nascent soul stage. The mature bone treasure supported by the silver dragon meteorite could even resist the nascent soul true fire of a grand cultivator, let alone such an attack. Then, under the horrified gaze of Xiao Hongfei and Lu Xiao, Lu Kuan's skeleton was enveloped by the fifth lightning tribulation. The incomparably powerful destructive power flashed on the crystal-clear skeleton. Only a small part of the destructive power penetrated, but the dense bone material of the silver dragon cloud iron was only the first layer of the skeleton. There was a second layer of protection behind the bone material, which completely offset the destructive power that penetrated the skeleton. The energy in the depths of Lu Kuan's skeleton was not affected at all. After dozens of breaths, the enormous fifth lightning tribulation could only dissipate in vain. It turned into spiritual energy and vigorous life force, which was absorbed by Lu Kuan's bone treasure. The tribulation clouds in the sky seemed to have felt something. The huge black vortex spun faster, and the heaven-earth yuan qi and devil qi in the chaotic sea rolled again. It was very similar to the scene before the formation of the third lightning tribulation. Lu Kuan's skeleton slowly fell to the ground. The devil qi and mana in his body completely disappeared. Under the suppression of the life force, the cold yin energy was completely integrated into the silver energy. The strange force field of his body's source strength, that extended over 100 feet, began to shrink as the silver energy took shape. A large amount of spiritual energy vortex appeared on Demon Spirit Island once more. The spiritual energy pressure was even more turbulent than before. As a large amount of spiritual energy poured in, the flesh and blood essence within the silver energy was spat out like blood qi and devil qi. A large amount of tendons appeared on the surface of Lu Kuan's jade-like bones. Dense muscle fibers quickly grew and wrapped around the bones. Silver blood also began to appear in his flesh and blood. A terrifying blood qi energy soared into the sky. Lu Kuan's body was quickly perfected, and his silver internal organs were formed one by one. In just 100 breaths of time, Lu Kuan's body had completely recovered. A terrifying pressure different from that of a nascent soul cultivator spread out in all directions with Lu Kuan as the center. A layer of faint silver light appeared around his body and stuck close to his skin. The strange aura of his body's source strength flowed through the light. At this time, the tribulation vortex in the sky had finished brewing. A black bolt of lightning as thick as a bucket slowly descended like a black flood dragon. Lu Kuan closed his eyes and ignored the tribulation lightning. After the silver energy in his body had completely taken shape, he could sense a strange power hidden in the surrounding spiritual energy. When the sixth tribulation lightning appeared, the strange power hidden in the depths of the spiritual energy seemed to be attracted. It surrounded the black tribulation lightning and formed a purple halo. Heaven and Earth Yuan Qi. I can sense the existence of Heaven and Earth Yuan Qi. Lu Kuan opened his eyes. He felt a bit incredulous. A late-stage nascent soul cultivator relied on the power of their nascent soul to move the Heaven and Earth Yuan Qi, but he could sense it. But he soon discovered that although he could sense the Heaven and Earth Yuan Qi, the Heaven and Earth Yuan Qi didn't pay any attention to him. It was like a beautiful fairy lying naked in front of you, allowing you to pick her. But you could only look and not eat. It was an incomparably uncomfortable feeling. That's right, when the chaos magic power appeared, I also felt the Heaven and Earth Yuan Qi. Could it be because of the 5 elements chaos demon bone? Lu Kuan shook his head and threw this thought to the back of his mind. Excitement appeared on his face as he looked at the purple halo of the 6th tribulation lightning. Very good. This level of attack is only slightly weaker than that of a great nascent soul cultivator. Let's see if I, Lu Kuan, can contend with this destructive power after obtaining my body's source strength. The force field of his body's source strength wrapped around Lu Kuan's body. It didn't seem to continue spreading. Relying on this strange force field, Lu Kuan's body soared into the sky. He took a deep breath. He could feel the endless strength gushing out from his body cells, filling his entire body. Lu Kuan was incomparably excited. He couldn't help but open his mouth. The endless strength in his body seemed to have found an outlet. It was transmitted through his source cells and surged into his lungs. The silver energy's source strength also supported his lungs. Roar! A faint silver fluctuation crazily gushed out from Lu Kuan's mouth. His voice seemed to contain a tremendous strength that tore apart the air. Invisible fluctuations of strength surged out in all directions, scattering a massive amount of spiritual energy clouds. Thousands of feet away, Xiao Hongfei and Lu Zhao's complexions changed. They hurriedly added a soundproof barrier to their magic power shields. Even so, the terrifying strength of the sound wave still sent them flying back dozens of feet. However, their magic power shields still flashed with light and weren't destroyed. It was clear that after being sent thousands of feet away, the strength of the sound wave was greatly reduced. The sixth lightning tribulation was directly above Lu Kuan's head. It was directly hit by the sound wave, causing an irregular distortion. The destructive power inside seemed to have been attacked by an invisible force and was slightly reduced. My body's source strength can actually transmit power. Lu Kuan was stunned at first, then he became even more excited. His legs bent slightly, and a strange distortion appeared in the void under his feet. It was as if it was being squeezed by several forces. Then Lu Kuan's tall and sturdy body soared into the sky. Within 3 feet of his body, a continuous force field was maintained, lending strength to his body so that his physical strength could be fully displayed. His fists, wrapped in a silver light film, surged with a terrifying and suffocating brute force. It was no less than 800,000 jin, twice the strength of a large success bone treasure. It squeezed out a large amount of air, and a large number of blade-like air blades spread out in all directions. Lu Kuan's fists hit the black lightning dragon. As if it had received a heavy blow, the black lightning dragon's head tilted and its body trembled. The destructive power inside almost dissipated by more than half. Under the support of his body's source strength, the terrifying power of 800,000 jin seemed to have reached the level of the mid-nascent soul stage. It forcibly eliminated the huge destructive power of the sixth lightning tribulation. However, with this attack, the silver light film outside Lu Kuan's body turned into little silver light spots and dissipated. The silver energy in his body was almost exhausted, but the force field within 3 feet of his body still existed. Then, his naked body was wrapped up by the black lightning serpent. The destructive power of the sixth lightning tribulation was greatly reduced, but the power of the heaven and earth yuan qi still existed. Lu Kuan's full and sturdy muscles quickly withered and became charred black. After entering a new realm, the body became a whole. The cells of the muscles and bone treasure became the same source, causing the defensive power of the muscles to increase dramatically. The lightning tribulation that contained the heaven and earth yuan qi was first blasted away by Lu Kuan, and then consumed by the muscles. In the end, only a small part of it blasted the bone treasure, and only slightly damaged its spirituality. The damage caused by the sixth lightning tribulation to Lu Kuan was actually not as good as the damage caused by the third lightning tribulation. The exhausted thunder tribulation lightning dragon quickly turned into colorful spirit qi and devil qi, which was absorbed by Lu Kuan's body. The dried-up silver energy quickly recovered, and at the same time, the power of qi and blood surged. The charred muscles fell off and new flesh wriggled. Lu Kuan did not feel any joy. He looked up at the sky with an incomparably serious expression. The pitch-black and thick tribulation cloud did not dissipate. Instead, it became denser and more terrifying. It was as if the pressure of a great cultivator was slowly spreading out from the vortex. Chapter 873. Why isn't the thunder tribulation over yet? Lu Xiao looked at the dark cloud vortex that was still nurturing the thunder tribulation and stammered. Xiao Hongfei's expression was already numb. The scenes that had appeared one after another in a short period of time had completely exceeded his understanding. In particular, the sixth thunder tribulation just now contained the essence of heaven and earth, which was almost close to the attack of a great cultivator. Not to mention the early nascent soul stage, most of the mid-nascent soul stage powerhouses would not be able to take it head-on. Who knew that Lu Kuan, this freak, would actually forcibly disperse the huge destructive power of the sixth thunder tribulation? This was an attack against an attack, and not relying on lightning resistance for defense. This meant that Lu Kuan's own attack power had also reached the mid-nascent soul stage. This was under the condition that Lu Kuan's tribulation had not ended. Xiao Hongfei could not imagine how he did it. The powerful strength of the mid-nascent soul stage, coupled with lightning resistance, allowed Lu Kuan to withstand the sixth thunder tribulation that was comparable to a great cultivator's. Xiao Hongfei did not believe that the other disciples of the body refining pavilion had such freakish strength and lightning resistance. Even a gifted monster cultivator would very likely die in the face of the third thunder tribulation that contained the essence of heaven and earth, not to mention the later ones. According to the pattern of the previous thunder tribulation, there were probably 3 more thunder tribulations, which were definitely terrifying attacks of the great cultivator's level. If the thunder tribulation of a body cultivator was like this, even if Lu Kuan survived, no one else in the body cultivator lineage would be able to withstand the thunder tribulation. The body cultivator lineage would stop with Lu Kuan alone. What was the use of the body refinement technique that he created? Thinking of this, Xiao Hongfei could not help but be stunned. He vaguely grasped the main point and said with some disbelief, could it be that because Lu Kuan created the body cultivator lineage and became the first high-level body cultivator, the heavens sent down the 9-stage thunder tribulation to prevent the emergence of body cultivators? Hearing Xiao Hongfei's nonsense, Lu Xiao clenched his fists and his eyes flashed with indignation. He saw the scene of Lu Kuan bombarding the sixth thunder tribulation, which was definitely comparable to the mid-nascent soul stage. With such a strong powerhouse, they had hope of returning to Wei country and reclaiming the territory of the Yang clan. He must succeed in transcending the tribulation. Xiao Hongfei's face said with a pale face, if I'm not wrong, the seventh thunder tribulation is at the beginning. The second thunder seventh tribulation is at the peak of the great cultivator's level. He pursed his dry lips. The power of a nascent soul at the level of a grand cultivator is incomparably dense, and it is already capable of triggering the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. If the tribulation clouds take the initiative to enhance the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, I'm afraid that it is close to the demigod stage. Even if Lu Kuan has lightning resistance, Lu Xiao suddenly thought of something and interrupted. Brother Xiao, that's not necessarily true. Lu Shidi still has a divine ability that he hasn't used yet. He might be able to resist it. Hearing this, Xiao Hongfei immediately thought of Lu Kuan's powerful divine ability that greatly increased the strength of his arms. But just as he was about to say something, Lu Kuan's voice came into his ears. Brother Xiao, Senior Brother Lu, Xiao Jin and Shui have encountered other core formation cultivators outside the island. I'll have to trouble the 2 of you to go and help stop the other cultivators from entering the island and protect Lu. Feeling this powerful divine sense, Xiao Hongfei's heart trembled. He cupped his hands in Lu Kuan's direction and flew away with Lu Xiao, who had a worried expression on his face. In a corner of Demon Spirit Island, Corpse Priest stood on top of a yellow wooden coffin. This copper-armored corpse had changed a lot. The muscles wrapped around his body had become glossier, like metal. The color of his body had changed from black to gray. His fingernails were shining with a green luster, as if they contained some kind of poison. A few years ago, he had already absorbed the inner core of the razor-venomous scorpion. Unfortunately, for some unknown reason, his energy had been stuck at the peak of the copper-armored corpse level, unable to break through to the silver-armored corpse level. Not long ago, the terrifying aura of the lightning tribulation had awakened him. Seeing Lu Kuan resist the terrifying lightning tribulation with his body, Corpse Priest felt even more reverence in his heart. Suddenly, the bloodthirsty light in Corpse Priest's eyes shone brightly, as if he had received some kind of command. He rubbed his emerald-green fingernails, and a gray light flashed and he quickly disappeared. At the same time, Dahe, who was in the area of demonic chi, flicked his ears and glanced at the demon soul wood beside him. He stood still and looked at the Eight-Spirit Valley with a worried expression. Lu Kuan floated in the air, wholeheartedly absorbing the pure energy of the sixth lightning tribulation. The silver energy in his body was quickly recovering. With his peak early nascent soul stage spiritual sense, he could barely cover the entire demon spirit island with a radius of 50 miles. He sensed that Sher Chao and Xiao Jin were fighting with two core formation cultivators outside the island. On the other side of the island, there was another cultivator with a strong concealment technique who wanted to sneak into the island. He didn't want to be disturbed by these people. Calming his mind, Lu Kuan raised his head and looked at the spinning tribulation clouds in the sky. His expression was somewhat heavy. His guess was the same as Xiao Hongfei's, but it was even more pessimistic. Lu Kuan faintly felt that his breakthrough seemed to have broken some kind of rule of human cultivators. It was because of this that this world was angered and wanted to kill him. Although he had passed the sixth lightning tribulation, the sense of crisis in his heart had become even stronger. Lu Kuan let out a deep breath and felt that the silver energy in his body had recovered. He clenched his fists and his eyes flashed with madness. So what if it's a 9-stage heavenly tribulation? You're hiding something, and I haven't used my full strength either. Let me, the owner of the body refining pavilion, Lu Kuan, break the rules of heaven and earth. As if it had heard Lu Kuan's shout, the tribulation clouds in the sky suddenly sped up. A pitch-black ball of lightning, about 3 meters in size, rolled down from the clouds. The huge destructive force made Lu Kuan feel horrified even from far away. He seemed to recall the blood demon hand that old demon Pang used to grab him. The feeling of being unable to resist still lingered in his heart. As the ball of lightning slowly fell, a trace of heaven and earth yuan qi hidden in the depths of the surrounding spiritual energy was attracted and gathered towards the ball of lightning, wrapping it in a layer of purple halo. Lu Kuan looked at the ball of lightning that was moving slowly. His eyes suddenly lit up. The force field outside his body trembled slightly, and his body emitted threads of light. He rose into the air and actually took the initiative to meet the ball of lightning. His speed was much faster than the ball of lightning. In a few flashes, he was already 10 meters below the ball of lightning. A huge amount of chi and blood energy soared into the sky, and the silver energy in his bones surged in his arms. Thick blue veins coiled around Lu Kuan's arms like pythons. His muscles bulged like steel bars, and a terrifying strength filled his malevolent and deformed arms. Clenching his fists, which were larger than his head, Lu Kuan could even hear an ear-piercing explosive sound coming from the surrounding air. With his vital chi increased by 50%, that terrifying strength of 1,200,000 jin would be able to bring about a strong wind as sharp as a blade with just a slight tremble. What I, Lu Kuan, need is not a barbaric exchange of blows, but survival. It's a good opportunity to test out the power of my physical body's origin power. After activating his arm, the force field around Lu Kuan's body quickly disappeared. Relying on his bone treasure, he flew through the air, and a silver energy surged rapidly in his body. His huge arm fists were aimed at the void above him, and he viciously released the enormous strength of his arm. Almost in an instant, the air around the black ball of lightning 8 meters away began to distort strangely. The wrinkled air seemed to form a pair of thick fists that smashed into the ball of lightning. In the face of such a terrifying attack, the surrounding air did not fluctuate in the slightest. This power did not leak out at all. The explosive power blasted into the black ball of lightning, causing it to tremble violently. Then, Lu Kuan's hands formed into claws, and he tore at the void in front of him. 10 claw marks appeared out of thin air on the violently trembling black lightning ball. An invisible and terrifying brute force violently tore it in half, turning it into 2 smaller black lightning balls. At this time, the destructive power in the balls of lightning still existed. It seemed that Lu Kuan did not destroy them, but the destructive power and heaven-earth yuan qi in each ball of lightning had been divided into 2 parts. The balls of lightning seemed to feel a trace of uneasiness and wanted to speed up towards Lu Kuan. But at this time, Lu Kuan was incomparably excited. His 5 thick and long fingers closed, and his 2 claws turned into hand blades, and he slashed horizontally. The 2 balls of lightning that had already been divided into 2 seemed to have been cut in half by a terrifyingly sharp magic weapon. From 2 to 4, they were cut into 4 purplish-black balls of lightning. Each ball of lightning only had a quarter of its original power. In terms of pure power, it was less than the 6th lightning tribulation. After launching these 3 attacks, Lu Kuan quickly retracted the power of his arm. A distorted force field appeared once again in a 3-foot radius around his body. Lu Kuan's burly body exuded a treasure light, and he nimbly flashed in midair. He quickly collided with one of the balls of black plasma, and then his body turned into a phantom, dodging it. Under the support of the nascent soul-level energy, the speed of the bone treasure increased greatly, and Lu Kuan borrowed the power of the origin power of his physical body to accelerate his speed to the extreme. Compared to his previous speed on the ground, it was more than twice as fast. While Lu Kuan was moving, the black balls of lightning on his body, under the weakening of the lightning resistance, barely passed through the defense of his muscles. They were easily blocked by the bone treasure, and turned into pure energy to make up for Lu Kuan's loss. The other 3 balls of lightning could not be faster than Lu Kuan in a short period of time, and immediately merged again. In the face of the greatly reduced power of the lightning balls, Lu Kuan did the same thing. With just 2 strikes of the power of his arm, he dispersed them again. Separating the 7th lightning tribulation and withstanding it one by one was equivalent to several lightning tribulations of the middle stage of the nascent soul stage. Although in the end Lu Kuan's muscles were almost dry, the spirituality of the bone treasure was slightly damaged, and the silver energy in his body was still more than 50%. Lu Kuan absorbed the pure energy of the dissipated lightning tribulation, and his eyes flashed with an inexplicable color. Sure enough, as I expected, the origin power of the physical body can not only radiate power, but also allow the brute force of 1,000,000 kilograms to resist high-level energy. This is why I was able to split the 7th lightning tribulation and fully display the defensive power of the physical body. That's right, Lu Kuan's strongest point now was not his attack, but his defense. Not only did he have resistance to lightning, but the bone treasure was also fused with the silver dragon meteorite. In the face of the lightning tribulation, his defensive means were definitely not inferior to the late stage of the nascent soul stage. Lu Kuan felt the physical body's origin power field around his body, and his eyes flashed with a thoughtful color. There is a lot of room for the origin power of the physical body to be developed. Just the current power transfer and borrowing power from the void has caused my combat strength to soar and give birth to many changes. Moreover, the origin power of the physical body and the energy in the body have some kind of connection. He raised his head and looked at the lightning tribulation cloud. If it was the 8th lightning tribulation of a peak nascent soul stage cultivator, with the strength of my arm, it would be difficult to split it. If it was the 9th lightning tribulation, it would be even more impossible. Lu Kuan pondered for a moment, and a light flashed from his body. He turned into a human-shaped magic treasure and shot toward the center of Demon Spirit Island. At the center of Demon Spirit Island was an artificial lake that Pan Yin had used an earth attribute magic to dig. However, Lu Kuan knew that at the bottom of this artificial lake was the restriction that connected to the Dead Sea Devil Cave. Below the restriction was the true demon pool. The lightning tribulation contained inconceivable power, and the restriction around Demon Spirit Island was almost broken by itself. Then, the restriction around the Dead Sea Devil Cave would definitely not be able to resist the lightning tribulation. With the true demon pool, Lu Kuan could use his strongest trump card. Heaven-piercing roar. Devil Ape transformation. Chapter 874. A young man in a blue robe was crawling behind a rock. His eyes were filled with fear. His name was Feng Xiaobo, a core formation elder of the Spirit Transformation sect. Not long ago, he was passing by and unexpectedly discovered the thunder tribulation phenomenon in the chaotic ocean. The Spirit Transformation sect was a sect that specialized in taming spirit beasts, so he immediately recognized the fluctuations of the manifestation thunder tribulation. For demonic beasts, the manifestation thunder tribulation was extremely terrifying. The chances of passing it were extremely low. Most of the demonic beasts at the peak of the 7th level that tried to break through would fall under the thunder tribulation. Even if the demonic beast barely passed the thunder tribulation, it would be in a severely injured state. Only after digesting the life energy produced by the thunder tribulation would it be able to complete its transformation and transform into a human form, becoming an 8th-level demonic cultivator comparable to a nascent soul stage cultivator. After Feng Xiaobo discovered the manifestation thunder tribulation, his heart almost exploded. He actually encountered a 7th-level demonic beast in the chaotic ocean. This was simply a great opportunity. If this demonic beast failed its tribulation, the corpse of the 7th-level demonic beast would be a great fortune. If it succeeded, Feng Xiaobo would have the opportunity to subdue the 8th-level demonic beast that was in the process of transforming. But who would have thought that as soon as he entered the island, he would be scared silly by the thunder tribulation that was comparable to a grand cultivator before he even saw what kind of demonic beast was undergoing its tribulation. How can the manifestation thunder tribulation be so terrifying? Even the legendary true dragons and heavenly phoenixes wouldn't be able to withstand such a tribulation. Just as he was guessing in his heart, the huge tribulation cloud in the sky suddenly shrunk and spat out a huge purple-black ball of lightning. It was like a meteor from outer space that quickly smashed down. Perhaps because it was too fast, a thick layer of purple flames appeared around the ball of lightning. The spiritual energy on the island also became turbulent, as if it was afraid of the power of the thunder tribulation. The ball of lightning surrounded by purple flames directly blasted into the center of the island. After a few breaths of time, Feng Xiaobo felt the ground shake violently, as if the entire island was about to sink to the bottom of the sea. Suddenly, Feng Xiaobo's expression changed greatly. An aqua-blue shield emitting a blue light appeared behind him out of thin air. Clang, an ear-piercing sound was heard as the aqua-blue shield dimmed and was sent flying. A zombie emitting an intense cold aura appeared behind him. Top-grade copper-armored corpse. Feng Xiaobo was startled, but before he could do anything, the bronze-armored corpse's figure flashed, and it was already at his side. Its green claws were filled with a cold aura, and it tore at the mana shield. CICIC. Due to the corrosive effect of the poison and the enormous brute force, Feng Xiaobo's middle core formation stage magic power shield was easily torn apart. But at this moment, a strange fluctuation suddenly appeared in the air. A layer of faint blue halo enveloped Feng Xiaobo's body. The bronze-armored corpse's sharp claws were instantly sent flying after hitting it. Feng Xiaobo was taken aback at first, but then he reacted. His body and the aqua-blue shield turned into a streak of light and shot out of the island. Priest Corpse swung his sharp claws, but didn't chase after Ji Hao. Instead, he raised his head and looked at the dark clouds in the sky, with a trace of fear flashing across his eyes. Above Demon Spirit Island, the enormous tribulation cloud was collapsing inwards. Countless tiny bolts of lightning began to condense, emitting an oppressive aura. At the center of Demon Spirit Island, the artificial lake had disappeared, and a 30-zhang-wide hole appeared at the bottom. Dense demonic qi was gushing out from it. Below the hole, a dim jade skeleton sat cross-legged in the true devil pool. It was Lu Kuan, who had survived the 8th lightning tribulation. This lightning tribulation was beyond his expectations. It descended so fast that he couldn't react at all. He could only use his body's lightning resistance to resist it. The attack of a top-grade Great Cultivator was weakened by half by his lightning resistance, and its power was greatly reduced. In addition, Lu Kuan's jade skeleton had the silver dragon meteorite iron, which consumed a lot of the bone's spirituality. He barely managed to resist it. Fortunately, he had achieved his goal. The lightning tribulation's power easily shattered the restriction between the Dead Sea Devil Cave and Demon Spirit Island. Lu Kuan had the 5 elements Chaos Devil Bone, so the true devil intent was almost unaffected. He absorbed the water of true devil, and with the help of a large number of spirit stones in his ribs, the silver energy quickly recovered. As the majestic blood vitality surged, in just 100 breaths of time, Lu Kuan had completely restored his mortal body. Then, he continued to stimulate the silver energy, guiding the blood essence and true devil intent to rush towards his chest in a special trajectory. An inexplicably savage aura radiated out from his sternum. Accompanied by the creaking sound of bones, his muscles rapidly swelled up like twisted pythons, looking ferocious and terrifying. Black and thick hair even grew out of his skin. 10 feet, 20 feet, Lu Kuan's black demon ape form swelled to 30 feet tall. All of the water of true devil within the true devil pool had been absorbed by him. Lu Kuan let out a carefree groan. A steady stream of strength gushed out from his body, almost doubling to a full 1.6 million genes. With such a massive amount of strength concentrated in his body, just how terrifying was this? The silver energy trembled. The air within 6 feet of his body strangely twisted, and the powerful force field of his body's source strength doubled. At this moment, the tribulation clouds in the sky seemed to have sensed something and rapidly shrank. The demonic qi from the seabed and the spiritual qi from the sea kept pouring in. Rumble! An incomparably oppressive sound of thunder flashed, and a black lightning bolt that was thicker than a millstone slowly poked its head out. As it drilled out, the black tribulation cloud gradually dissipated, turning into a purplish-black halo that lingered around the lightning bolt. The air on Demon Spirit Island suddenly became incomparably thick, and a destructive aura filled dozens of miles. The cultivators outside the island had already stopped fighting and hid several miles away. Lu Kuan grinned. With a light leap, he jumped out of the cave and floated in midair. A hammer covered in demonic runes appeared in the 6-feet-long palm. It was about the size of a thumb. With the injection of the silver energy, not only the true devil intent but also the aura of his body's source strength entered the hammer. In the previous battle, Lu Kuan had discovered that his body's source strength was attached to the silver energy. If he used it from a distance, the consumption of the silver energy would be astonishing. Since that was the case, he could inject the silver energy into the magic treasure. This way, the magic treasure could transmit his terrifying brute strength and unleash powerful long-range attacks with minimal consumption. Suddenly, the demonic runes on the hammer lit up, and a force field similar to his body's source strength emerged, twisting with a strange fluctuation. A dense black light gradually appeared outside the hammer, and a trace of the world's origin energy was released. Lu Kuan was stunned. He could clearly sense that the demonic chi hidden in the nearby demonic chi was attracted to the hammer and attached to the strange force field. The demonic artifact could actually support the world's origin energy. Lu Kuan was very excited. He waved his deformed and thick arm and smashed the hammer at the ninth tribulation lightning. The demonic hammer was strengthened with a terrifying force of 1.6 million kilograms. Wherever it passed, ripples appeared in the air. In the blink of an eye, it collided with the ninth tribulation lightning. If the 400,000 kilograms of strength was equivalent to a mid-nascent soul cultivator's attack, then the 1.6 million kilograms of strength was comparable to a top-notch cultivator's attack power. Coupled with the trace of demonic chi surrounding the hammer, Lu Kuan's attack was almost as powerful as a top-notch cultivator's attack. The heaven hammer violently squeezed into the tribulation lightning. A terrifying force quickly erupted inside the lightning, scattering a small part of the thick lightning. Even the black halo outside dimmed a bit. However, after the explosion of power, the silver energy was exhausted, and the heaven hammer was sent flying by the tribulation lightning. Lu Kuan's eyes shone with a scorching light. After the physical body became the same origin, the power can be transmitted through the roar. Then, the heaven-piercing roar's sound wave power can also be transferred to the fist. Then, he raised the demonic ape's arm high and smashed it at his chest. All of the true demonic intent in his body converged at his chest, and a vague black ape phantom appeared outside his body. Lu Kuan suppressed the urge to roar. The force field outside his body distorted, and the demonic ape phantom activated by the heaven-piercing roar was forcefully stuffed into his mouth by an invisible force. Lu Kuan's muscles, which were as large as a mountain, twisted as a strange power was transferred from his mouth. A layer of blurry black fist shadows appeared around his fists, and a shocking pressure spread out in all directions. Ha ha ha, I was right. Lu Kuan roared and his huge body soared into the sky. His fist, which was bigger than a millstone, carried several fist phantoms as it crazily smashed toward the ninth tribulation lightning. Boom boom boom, with each bombardment of the black fist phantoms, the black halo outside the tribulation lightning dissipated at a speed visible to the naked eye. At the same time, Lu Kuan's 3-meter-tall demonic ape body also shrank. In just a few breaths of time, Lu Kuan had blasted more than 20 punches, scattering all of the black halo of the tribulation lightning. In these few breaths of time, there was only a trace of silver left in his body, and his body returned to the body of a human. After losing the black halo, the power of the tribulation lightning was greatly reduced. After barely grinding away Lu Kuan's human skeleton form, it helplessly turned into a milky white liquid and sank into the bones. A strange life aura gradually emerged from the jade bones. Chapter 875. After this rich life energy entered the bone, Lu Kuan's soul seemed to have received some kind of nourishment and suddenly broke through some kind of boundary. Under the pressure of his divine sense, an invisible vortex storm appeared in the surrounding air. If there was a nascent soul cultivator here, they would be very surprised. This was a divine sense storm that only a mid-nascent soul cultivator could use. With the appearance of the divine sense storm, all the spiritual chi and remaining demonic chi in the center of Demon Spirit Island violently fluctuated and turned into vortexes that poured into the bone. The silver energy in the bone slowly recovered, and at the same time, it absorbed the life energy. The silver energy was the same as before. It needed to absorb demonic chi and spiritual chi at the same time. If it was in other places where spiritual chi and demonic chi were scarce, it would need spirit stones of the 5 attributes and demonic stones to recover. Just in terms of energy recovery, Lu Kuan's consumption of resources was probably far beyond that of ordinary nascent soul cultivators. As the silver energy gradually recovered, Lu Kuan began to use the flesh condensation technique. Flesh essence emerged from the bone treasure and his body slowly recovered to its original state. At this time, Lu Kuan also felt that the silver energy had completely integrated with a unique life force. This life force was very strange. It gave him an incomparably exuberant feeling. It was completely different from blood essence. With a thought from Lu Kuan, this life force was very obedient. Under his control, it separated from the silver energy and naturally attached itself to the bone treasure. After the bone treasure received the life force, it felt a bit more lively. But at this moment, the silver energy in the bone trembled slightly and almost instantly separated into two energies, one black and one white. The source strength of his body also disappeared. Bang! After losing the source strength of his body, Lu Kuan directly fell from the air and smashed a small hole in the ground. Lu Kuan was covered in dust as he lay on the ground in a daze. The separated white energy was the primal chaos magic power that he had cultivated, while the black energy was the nether demonic power. The greedy aura of the blood essence and demonic power disappeared without a trace. When there was no life force, the silver energy also didn't separate. What is this? Before Lu Kuan could sense it, the two conflicting energies violently surged, and a destructive power rippled through the bone treasure. Lu Kuan didn't expect such a situation to happen. Hadn't mana and mana already fused? How could they be separated now? But then he guessed a possibility. With a thought, the life force in the bone treasure appeared again. The magic power and magic power that were quarreling calmed down as if they had met a peacemaker, and quickly merged with the life force. The silver energy from before appeared once again, but it was slightly reduced. It seemed to be caused by the destruction of mana and magic. At this time, the origin power of his physical body appeared once again, and an invisible force field floated within 3 feet of his body. Lu Kuan looked a little excited. He quickly stood up and transferred the life force back and forth. He discovered that as long as the life force left the silver energy, the energy would automatically separate. The separated primal chaos magic power and nether demonic power were very pure. It was as if the two had never fused. The conflict was very fierce, producing a terrible destructive power. Lu Kuan suddenly understood something. Although the Thunder Tribulation wanted to destroy him, if he broke through, it would leave behind a life force condensed by the laws of heaven and earth. From the looks of it, this life force could allow the silver energy to change between two forms. One was the cultivation form, where the life force was separated. The silver energy turned into magic power and demonic power, and as long as there was enough spiritual energy and demonic power, Lu Kuan could continue to temper the bone treasure in this state. The other was the combat form, where the silver energy maintained the existence of the origin power of his physical body. With the origin power of his physical body, Lu Kuan could display his true fighting strength. This life force was simply the greatest gift. In Hong Yuntian's letter, it seems to have mentioned that the reason why the demon race's physical body is so strong is because their cultivation method is accompanied by a kind of demonic energy that exists in the flesh and blood to temper the body. The silver energy also has the same effect. At the same time, it also contains the 5 elements of the primal chaos magic power. It's better to call it primal chaos demonic energy. Lowering his head and pondering for a moment, Lu Kuan formed some kind of spell with both hands, but the demonic energy in his body did not respond. Then he chanted the simplest fireball spell in the cultivation world, but the demonic energy still did not respond. Lu Kuan was not surprised at all. When he was fighting against the Thunder Tribulation, he noticed it. His demonic energy was a combination of magic power, and it was compatible with his physical body. It had become a unique new energy, so naturally, he could not use the magic of the cultivation world. Then he operated the life force, transformed the demonic energy into a cultivation form, and used his blood to wrap the demonic energy to prevent the two from being destroyed. At the same time, he formed a spell, and a white true fire of magic power appeared in front of him. Feeling the strength of the true fire of magic power, Lu Kuan tried a few more spells. He found that even if he separated the demonic energy, the spells he cast were pitifully weak. At most, they were equivalent to the Great Circle of Foundation establishment. In other words, after entering the new realm, body cultivators were completely out of touch with the magic of immortal cultivators. In a non-combat state, they could only cast spells below the core formation realm. Lu Kuan did not feel any disappointment. Instead, he felt that it was natural. With the original power of the physical body, the power of the physical body could completely resist the power of the nascent soul realm. What was the use of spells? He thought in his heart, this realm, for body cultivators, is almost a complete transformation. They are completely separated from traditional immortal cultivators. Traditional immortal cultivators cultivate to the nascent soul realm. With the nascent soul as the core, they produce the power of the nascent soul to cast powerful high-level spells and activate the top magic treasures. Body cultivators like us use bone treasures as the core, and the original power of the physical body is generated. With strength, we can break all spells. Lu Kuan clenched his fist, and an invisible force field rippled. He slowly said, "This realm, let's call it the bone transformation stage." He closed his eyes and continued to absorb spiritual energy and demonic energy to restore his demonic energy. At the same time, he felt the original power of the physical body in his body. In the process of transcending the tribulation, Lu Kuan relied on Relingan's lightning resistance, the bloodline of the long-armed demon ape, the silver dragon meteorite in the bone treasure, and the remaining water of the true demon in the Dead Sea Devil Cave to successfully transcend the tribulation. But the most important thing for transcending the tribulation was still the original power of the physical body. After resisting the lightning tribulation, he had a lot of understanding of the original power of the physical body. The original power of the physical body had two forms. One was passive, and the other was active. Now, the force field within 3 feet of his body was the passive form. This passive force field could only be attached to 3 feet of his body. It allowed Lu Kuan to ignore the gravity of the earth. He did not need to cast any spells to stand in the void. At the same time, he could borrow power from the void within the range of the force field. In this void, in addition to being able to use all the power of the physical body, he could also quickly move and flash. His speed was much faster than on the ground. Back in the Yuan's secret realm, the 2 top-level demonic zombies relied on the support of the original power of the physical body. They borrowed power from the void to greatly increase their running speed. As for the other form of the original power of the physical body, it was to use the power of the void from a distance. At this time, the passive force field would disappear. In the secret realm, when Lu Kuan was chased by the 2 demonic zombies, the surrounding air was incomparably thick, hindering his running. Clearly, the demonic zombies used the original power of the physical body to support the void around him. The 7th lightning tribulation just now was dispersed by Lu Kuan's long-range void power. However, the void power's range seemed to be limited to no more than 10 feet. However, the use of the original power of the physical body also required the demonic energy in the body to provide energy. The passive force field of the original power of the physical body did not consume too much demonic energy. However, the long-range void power was very different. Moreover, the greater the distance of the void power, the more demonic energy the demonic energy consumed. In addition, if he wanted to wear down the power of the nascent soul, the consumption of demonic energy would also increase greatly. For example, during the 6th lightning tribulation, Lu Kuan relied on his 400,000 kilograms of strength and his original power of the physical body to destroy the destructive power. After that, the demonic energy in his body was almost exhausted. Lu Kuan recalled the last part of the tribulation. The long-range bombardment of the heaven hammer and the diversion of the piercing sky roar. There were many more ways to use the original power of the physical body that he needed to discover. Chapter 876. Originally, I put it in the section related to the work, but I found that I couldn't write about it there, so I moved it over. Unknowingly, 2 years have passed. To be honest, my original intention was to write because of my lack of books. I really wanted to read about body refinement and cultivation, but I didn't like those on the market. Most of them were pig trotters who cultivated a body refinement technique, and their combat power was off the charts. As for body refinement techniques, they were either obtained from killing people in dungeons for treasures, or from old grandpas. However, no one wrote about how the first body refinement cultivator appeared, or how the body refinement technique was created. In my opinion, body refinement cultivators were definitely different from traditional cultivators, and their cultivation systems were completely different. Those cultivators had dantians, meridians, golden cores, and nascent souls. They were so fragile that they could be crushed with a pinch. What use was there for them? True body refinement cultivators definitely didn't have golden cores or nascent souls. Unable to bear the itch, I started writing myself. I thought about the plot, deduced the body refinement system, and tried to write it. However, everyone can see the results of this book. It was almost terrible. I concluded that there were a few reasons. On one hand, it was because it was my first time writing a book, and the beginning was a bit rough. On the other hand, it was because this book was slow to get popular. Cultivation books were originally slow to get popular, and I was building a new cultivation system. Cough cough about that. Last year's update speed was a bit slow, so it will definitely improve this year. No matter how bad the results are, I just don't want to give up. In these 2 years of writing, I have been working hard. I was promoted a few times in the company, and my income also doubled. This way, no one will say that I don't do proper work. Everyone will only say that I have a unique hobby. With enough logistics, I won't give up on writing because of the poverty of life. So, fellow cultivators who follow the book, don't worry, I will definitely finish writing body refinement. Thank you, fellow cultivators who have been following me. If it weren't for your reviews, I wouldn't have confidence in myself. It's hard to satisfy everyone, so I hope that there are new cultivators who like this book. Now, the path of body refinement has officially come to an end. After the slow to get popular, you can read to your heart's content. No recommendation spots, no clicks, no exposure. I will blow up the Silver Guild myself. Next volume preview: The Rise of the Body Refining Pavilion. First, I set a small goal. For example, 1 second. Remember, bookstore. Chapter 877. 5 kilometers away from Demon Spirit Island. Xiao Hongfei's group stood on the Silver Dragon flying boat. As for Xiao Jin, he had his eyes closed and his ears perked up as if he was listening to something. Not far ahead of them was a middle-aged man and woman. The man was as thin as a match and the woman was fat. Their bodies were surging with mid-core formation demonic fluctuations. These two were the famous Tao and Li couple of the state of Qi's Western Prefecture. They were rogue cultivators and were core formation cultivators. When they passed by the state of Qi's border, they happened to see the terrifying phenomenon in the chaotic ocean. Thinking that a heaven-shaking treasure had appeared, they rushed over. After entering the chaotic ocean, they realized that it was a manifestation tribulation. However, they had never heard of such a terrifying demonic cultivator tribulation. They hadn't even read about it in ancient records. Thus, they decided to investigate. They didn't expect that the mysterious island where the lightning tribulation appeared was the base of a certain sect. Several core formation cultivators had suddenly appeared. The female core formation cultivator they encountered at the beginning wasn't weak. She cultivated an ice attribute cultivation technique and had 2 magic treasures that had been refined for many years. The grade 5 demonic ape wasn't simple either. However, the Tao-Enli couple's strength was comparable to late core formation cultivators. If the battle continued, the woman and the beast wouldn't be their match. But soon 2 more core formation cultivators appeared. One of them was a mid-core formation cultivator, so they were having a hard time. Just as the Tao-Enli couple thought of retreating, they suddenly smelled a faint corpse aura. A gray light that was hard to see with the naked eye suddenly appeared behind them. Be careful! The Tao-Enli couple were rogue cultivators for many years. They had always been vigilant. A small black knife shot out from each of their bodies and turned into 2 thin lines that shot backward like lightning. Sher Chow's eyes lit up. The glacial ice sword in front of her turned into 2 white lights and entered her arms. Her slender legs kicked off and she shot forward like a magic treasure. With the support of the glacial ice sword, her forearm bones were equivalent to magic treasures. She flew forward with her body at an astonishing speed. The fat woman was startled. She hurriedly activated a jade scepter magic treasure on her body and added a layer of black halo outside the demonic barrier. This was a spiritual magic treasure that they had obtained with great difficulty. Even a late core formation cultivator wouldn't be able to break it. Sher Chow was only an early core formation cultivator. Even if she burst out with speed, her attack power was limited. These 2 layers of defense were enough. On the other hand, the gray light behind them emitting a powerful aura made them felt a strong sense of danger. Dang! A few beams of gray and green light flashed across the air. The 2 black flying daggers were sent flying away, exposing Priest Corpse, a top-grade bronze shell zombie. Taking advantage of this gap, Zhao Shui had already arrived in front of the Tao-Li couple. 2 frost swords appeared in her hands. She clasped her palms together and the 2 swords merged. In an instant, they became a frost sword that exuded a terrifying power. Relying on the special ability of body cultivators, Zhao Shui was able to unleash the maximum power of the set of magical treasures. Boom! The Tao-Li couple only felt a shocking chill and a huge brute force coming from the greatsword. With one strike, the black halo around them dimmed a little, and that brute force even pushed them back. Corpse Priest was prepared. His claws were wrapped in a strong layer of cold power. Mixed with green light, they tore at the black halo outside their barrier. The Taoist couple's expression changed drastically. They quickly made a hand sign and controlled their magic treasures to block. They also tried to lock onto a certain treasure in their storage bags. However, Xiao Jin appeared on the other side of the 2. The little ape's body was bigger than before. He puffed out his chest and took a deep breath. Squeak! An incomparably sharp sound wave, which did not contain any mana, brought along high-speed vibrations in the air. It pierced through the defensive barrier and pierced into their ears. Their fragile eardrums directly ruptured, and their brains began to churn. For a moment, their divine sense was broken. Xiao Jin's arms suddenly expanded. Spirit beast power wrapped around them, and a terrifying force of nearly 200,000 kilograms was released. The sharp claws of a top-grade bronze-armored corpse, Sher Chow's complete set of magic treasures, and Xiao Jin's arm power, which he learned during his bone treasure period. Under so many powerful attacks, the Taoist couple's 2 layers of defense collapsed almost instantly. Corpse Priest's sharp claws left a few afterimages as he dug out 2 faintly black gold cores from the Taoist couple's bodies. Then, their bodies were hacked into ice shards by the huge ice sword. Xiao Hongfei lowered his head, looked at the soundproof barrier that he specially cast, and smiled while shaking his head. Ordinary cultivators didn't know that this kind of pure sound wave of body cultivators could be easily blocked by soundproof barriers. Perhaps, when the fighting style of body cultivators was completely exposed, cultivators would have the habit of casting soundproof barriers. Once he packed up the storage bags, Xiao Jin suddenly became frightened. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Sher Chow and Xiao Jin had been together for so many years, so she could somewhat understand him. She frowned and said, "Senior brother, are there other cultivators coming?" Before Xiao Jin could continue to answer, an incomparably huge and irresistible divine sense descended from the sky. The magic power in everyone's body seemed to be somewhat suppressed. Everyone's expression changed. Only a nascent soul cultivator could make them feel this way. TSK, a level 5 spirit beast can actually discover my existence, and a top-grade bronze-armored corpse. Looks like I'm quite lucky today. A dark green spirit light flashed, and an old man with a withered complexion slowly appeared in midair. His eyes shone as he looked at Xiao Jin and Corpse Priest. But then, he raised his eyebrows as if he sensed something. His eyes turned cold as he said, "Which fellow Taoist is hiding here? Why don't you come out and meet me?" In the next moment, an old man covered in a tricolored barrier appeared not far away. He didn't feel embarrassed at being called out at all. He chuckled and said, "Tu Tiancheng, how have you been?" Tu Tiancheng saw the old man's appearance clearly, and his face darkened slightly. He cupped his hands and said, "So it's the famous Lord Taoist 3 Sons of the Scorching Sun sect. I didn't expect you to be near the chaotic ocean." Tu Tiancheng cursed in his heart. This Lord Taoist 3 Sons was quite famous among nascent soul cultivators. This person's 3 sons' real fire had been cultivated to an extremely high level, and his magic power cultivation had also reached the peak of the early nascent soul stage. He had once beaten a mid-nascent soul stage cultivator until his nascent soul fled. Tu Tiancheng's cultivation method was a bit tricky. The power of his nascent soul was weak, and his magic power was far inferior to Lord Taoist 3 Sons. Lord Taoist 3 Sons didn't reply. A hint of disdain flashed across his eyes. Tu Tiancheng was the great elder of the Red Refinement sect. If it wasn't for his connection with the Blood Refinement sect, the Red Refinement sect would have been destroyed by the 10 Great Sect. Lord Taoist 3 Sons looked at Yu Xian on the silver dragon flying ship and said coldly, "An ant-like existence dares to touch my sect's mystical fire. You're courting death. Run!" Sher Chow shouted. She connected her magic power with Xiao Hongfei and the others and urged the silver dragon flying ship to shoot towards Demon Spirit Island. With the core formation cultivators working together, the silver dragon flying ship's speed was almost pushed to the limit. Lord Taoist 3 Sons sneered. He waved his sleeve, and 5 small snakes formed by tricolored flames shot out. The surrounding air instantly became extremely hot. The 5 fire snakes intertwined with each other and were much faster than the silver dragon flying ship. Tu Tiancheng also attacked at the same time. A jade-green longsword flew out from his body and overtook the fire snakes. He himself also turned into a streak of light and chased after the silver dragon flying ship. Lord Taoist 3 Sons frowned slightly. He was a little unhappy, but he didn't say anything and also flew away. The power of a nascent soul cultivator wasn't something a core formation cultivator could compare with. Tu Tiancheng's jade-green longsword flew for 1 or 2 miles and approached the silver dragon flying ship. The nascent soul power unique to nascent soul cultivators caused their magic power to shrink. The silver dragon flying ship's light dimmed, and their magic power shield became a little dim. At this moment, an inexplicable fluctuation appeared in the air. The jade-green longsword that was about to hit the silver dragon flying ship trembled slightly and suddenly stopped in midair. A muscular man wearing black armor appeared in the air unknowingly. His right hand was wrapped in a layer of silver light film. He held it with one hand, and the jade-green longsword 3 feet away seemed to be suppressed by a terrifying force and couldn't move. Tu Tiancheng's expression changed drastically. The appearance of this unfamiliar man was very sudden. His divine sense didn't detect anything. he hurriedly activated the nascent soul power in his body. In an instant, the jade-green longsword shone brightly and started to tremble violently. The muscular man's eyes were indifferent. He extended his hand and clenched it lightly. The pressure in the air became even stronger. The jade-green longsword let out a wail and floated towards him without any resistance. It was caught with one hand. Tu Tianqing instantly felt that his magic treasure was being suppressed by multiple magic treasures of the same level. At the same time, it was being suppressed by a terrifying brute force. That feeling was as if he was facing a nascent soul mid-stage cultivator. At this moment, the 5 fire snakes that were flying suddenly fused into a cone-shaped flame. It shone brightly and as if it had teleported, it wrapped around the muscular man's head. Tao Lord 3 Yang was very experienced in battle. When he saw that this man didn't use his magic power to protect himself, he didn't hesitate to activate the teleportation ability of the Fire of 3 Yang. As expected, it hit the man's head unexpectedly. A smile appeared on Tao Lord 3 Yang's face. As long as the Fire of 3 Yang touched a nascent soul cultivator's magic body, it would definitely be burned to ashes. Back then, a nascent soul mid-stage cultivator fell for his trick. But in the next moment, Tao Lord 3 Yang's smile froze. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The flesh on the muscular man's head and neck had all disappeared. Only his neck and a skull were left. The 3-colored flame burned futilely, but the white jade-like skull didn't even change its color. The man's empty eye sockets seemed to be flashing with mockery. The Fire of 3 Yang seemed to be suppressed by an invisible force and was forcibly gathered. It turned into a 3-colored fireball and landed in the muscular man's hand. Tao Lord 3 Yang instantly felt a terrifying brute force suppressing the 3-colored fireball. This made him feel incredulous. Mystical flames were different from magic treasures. They didn't have a physical body. How could they be restrained by pure force? This was completely beyond his understanding. Seeing that the muscular man didn't make a move, Tao Lord 3 Yang calmed himself down and tried his best to maintain a calm tone. He clasped his hands and said, "I am Tao Lord 3 Yang from the Blazing Inferno sect. May I know your name?" The muscles on the muscular man's head popped out from his bones. The muscles wriggled as he smiled hideously. "The owner of the Body Refining Pavilion, Lu Kuan. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.